Yeah, Prophet Marshall Occurrence. So this video is gonna be about. It's gonna be titled "When Love Turns to War." The story of the end of America. When love turns to war. The end of the story of America. The story of the end of America when love turns to war. And that's in every aspect of um, every community. The love done turned into war. See, people think God is one. They act like God is one track minded. God is not one track minded, bro. So that means more times than not, while you think God is thinking this way and he doing this, he doing something else. He doing something else. And how can we trust these people that sit back and we know they ain't got no relationship with God, and they trying to tell us what God gonna do? Are they insinuating what God? Are they even opening their mouth talking about what God gonna do and what God is doing? And you know you ain't got no relationship with God because you cliche. You learned the cliches from America. Well, God is still gonna help us, and you cliche with it, man. That's cliche. Listen, this ain't no time to be cliche, bro. God gonna work it out. Really? God gonna help us. You sure about that? After you done played with his people, you sure about that? See, this is when love turns to war. You know what I'm saying? I mean, most of us, especially that are Christians, at one time, it was love between us in this country. I don't think nobody was born hating America. Nobody was born that, but they act like we was, don't they? See, that's the punchline. That's 7 out. They act like we was born because they corny and they busters, man. That's the main word we're gonna be using for them gang stalkers and Freemasons. They busters, bro. Lame ain't good enough. Busters kind of hit different. They busters, man. You know what I'm saying? They busters, bro. That's basically it, bro. You know what I'm saying? A buster can have money, have everything. That's what a buster gonna do. See, that's how he fooled all these men and women, female food y'all, because they got money and material things. A buster gonna have that right now. That's how they fooled you. And see, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say this while I'm thinking about it. When the streets sided with them and worked with them, that's when I rose up above you. I don't care if you're real. I don't care about that. We all real for the streets. So then it's just different levels, right and wrong. Everybody ain't perfect. Ain't nobody perfect in the streets. So you can't hide behind being real when you make mistakes. Did you hear what I said? You can't hide behind being real when you done made mistakes that everybody gonna look at. Everybody gonna look at it. You can't kill everybody. So everybody still gonna know you made mistakes. And they gonna take off points, and you can't stop people from feeling different based on the same standard everybody else held by. So it was an instantaneous of selling your soul instantaneously. You sold your soul instantaneously, man. Like going out here gang stalking, using your little kids to gang stalk me and other people. I know all about it. So then you gotta take what come with it, buddy. You can't hide behind being real. See, that's the next level. That's what a boss man gonna tell you. A boss man gonna tell you, look, man, you can't hide behind being real. We don't care nothing about that. You still made mistakes. In spite of you being real, you still made mistakes, buddy. And see, so you can try to bust us like that. The busters gonna just be like deer in the headlights with these real dudes. But me, myself, what broke off that charm for me is when I started being around killers. myself. Like it's nobody. And military. Once I start being around military and killers myself, the streets don't charm me. Where I'm charmed by some real person. I look at things differently, more maturely. You'll be surprised at how many people look at things from an immature perspective. Because the bottom line is, it don't matter who that person is. If you get to a weapon quicker than he do, it's over. It don't matter what reputation he got. If I get to a weapon quicker than he do, it's over. See, I guess you could say I'm kind of influenced by a mentality that I might have picked up from people that I heard from prison, because it's just quick and snappy. It's quick and snappy, bro. If I get to, it don't matter what reputation you got. If I happen to get to a weapon quicker than you, it's over. Your reputation is over. It's absolutely over. So it don't matter who you are to me. It's a matter of, if I get to a mature perspective, is if I'm able to neutralize you as a target, point blank, period. No fraudulence, man. See, that's how you grow up as a grown man. I don't care who they are. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do about it. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do about it. See, some people get stuck on these personas and who people are and what city they come from and what neighborhood community they come from. I don't care about Brooklyn, man. It's just, if I gotta handle my business, can I get to something quicker than the next man? It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't get hung up on all that. See what I'm saying? See how they clear it all out. I don't get hung up on all that reputation and all these names and everything. Because the bottom line is, you could be neutralized as a target, and that's all, and it'll be the end of your story. That'll be the end of you. That's it. That's all it takes. And so that's like what? That's the sober way of looking at it. I ain't scared of black people. Some people are. Some white people scared of black people. So they come around and you act just like a white boy supposed to act to them. Like you scared of people because they black, or black can beat everybody. Black can't beat everybody. It can't beat every person. And that's the bottom line. So, man, people hide behind race and being black or Hispanic or Latino, whatever it is. I'm just looking at how I'm going to neutralize my targets. That's it. See, that's the way you're supposed to think as a soldier. You don't even get intimidated by these people. Think about it. If you're a soldier, you just see people. I don't care about what color they are, what reputation they got. I'm thinking physically, how can I neutralize this target right here in front of me? What can I do to get this person swept off their feet? How can I sweep this person off their feet? That's how you're supposed to think. But more times than not, some people actually do. Grown men get intimidated by personas and personalities. They got people. It's a cult of it, man. And the more people got reputation, just like high school, people get at like deers and headlights. I don't. I just think about in close quarters or in open fields. How would I get away and handle my business and neutralize my targets if I can? That's all you think, like as a soldier. And that way, you navigate way more clear-minded, and you do things way more clear-minded. Where I'm not making any steps or hesitations and moves based. I ain't biting my tongue more than anything. I'm not biting my tongue on these people. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Okay, that's dead. I'm dead serious. As you can see, man, the world is turning to soldiers. All these gay people, lesbians, gonna be left behind. See, that's a perfect way of them being left behind. We ain't gotta say nothing to you. We ain't gotta disrespect them. We ain't gotta down them. We ain't gotta call them out all the time. You know what's gonna happen? The world is gonna be caught up in war, and they gonna be left behind. All these gay people gonna be left behind because you ain't built like that in the world to survive war and everything. So they just gonna fall away when the war come on. It ain't gonna be they ain't gonna fit into our conversations anymore. See, they've been dominating our conversations for way too long. Gay this, lesbian that, transgender kids, transgender that. Now you ain't dominating our conversations. Now nobody ain't talking about no gay stuff. Now you ain't in the news. You're not in the news anymore. You don't see none of that gay stuff in the news. Nobody don't care about it. They're becoming irrelevant. They're becoming irrelevant, man. So that's God's doing, man. That's God's doing, you know, because it's more than one way to skin a cat. Instead of being out here giving them the attention they want, you know, giving them that spotlight. They love spotlights. If you ain't noticed, these gay people love spotlights. So just swallowing them up without a spotlight is perfect. Because now these real wars is popping off, man, and nobody ain't trying to hear nothing about no gay stuff at all. I mean, how do we process that right now? You know what I'm saying? Gay stuff. How do we process that right now? If you ain't living that lifestyle, how do I process thinking about gay stuff right now? You see what I'm saying? How do I process that right now? With these real wars going on, it's irrelevant. It don't fit into our community. In fact, sex, period, with a woman, you're gonna see that fade away too. Ain't nobody think about sex with no woman. I ain't think about that. I don't care about it right now. I'm 44 years old. I don't care about no I don't care about no sex with no woman. I already been there, done that. I'm at the age where I already done had sex. So who's sitting around daydreaming about it at 44 years old? I ain't daydreaming about that. You start focusing on other objectives. It's not that you don't love women. You just start focusing on other objectives. Especially if you follow God. If you are a spiritual person, especially if you follow the Lord, you start following other objectives. You know, that ain't my first and foremost objective of my day is thinking about a female or anything like that. You know, So you know, people that's sitting around trying to hold us to these double standards and these crazy standards, these busters that's surrounding me. We just listen, man. This is why it's ending. I told people, as long as you surround my life, and we know you busters. On top of that, as long as busters surround my life, we just gonna do what we gotta do. We ain't gonna act like it's a me and you type of thing because you too lame. You too much of a buster for me to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you don't think like I do. You ain't built like I am. You ain't tough as me. It take millions of busters for one person. You notice that? Thousands of busters for one person, man. That's how you know they busters. How it take thousands of people for one person? Because you busters. That's why. Okay, it's that simple, man. It's that simple to understand. And I'm real. I'm built to last, buddy. As we all can see. So, the end of the story of America is that they could not go any further because of gang stalking. The end of America was the gang stalking. Okay? They didn't get away with it. Now we see. They thought they was getting away with it. That's why you have to let patience have its perfect work, because God is doing other things as well. But you can tell while God is doing other things that this is being wrapped up. This ain't gonna work out. And so now people realize, it dawns on them, yeah, you're in the end of the world. Now, can I tell you that all of this is going to be World War III? That I don't know. But I know it ain't going to get no better. I know, looking at all these things that's happening, it's not going to get better. And that's all that matters. You know, can I tell you it's World War III on the horizon? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Trump does a lot of manipulation. You know what I'm saying? That's how I call it. It's not that he solves problems, he manipulates. So, you know, I don't know. But I know it ain't going to get no better. I know this world ain't going to get no better. I know that it ain't gonna get good. America ain't gonna be good no more. I know that these headlines of crazy stuff that's happening in this country is not gonna stop. I know it's not. I know none of this stuff is gonna stop. And that's whether it's World War III on the horizon or not. It ain't gonna. This stuff ain't gonna stop. See, real people just rather let busters just go ahead and die. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just, we can't accept busters riding around and got material things, but you ain't got the heart and the mindset that we do. And ultimately, I proved out of the ranks of the real that we can fade busters without money. We can fade them without money. So I proved that. You could say, I took being a real one to spirituality. That's a good way to look at me. I took being a real one to spirituality, not to witchcraft. You got these so-called thugs over there on witchcraft. I know they do, right? I know they do. But I took being a real one on God's side as a soldier for God, and we faded these people without weapons. We faded them, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't acknowledge no materialistic things and no material things. That's not going to hold up with who I beat, the people I beat. Whatever they talking about with money and all that, we don't care about that. What you got defeated. You played with the country and caused COVID-19. Nobody don't care about the money you got. See, if you don't know, Freemasons and other secret societies caused COVID-19 from gang stalking. Okay? So now you hear the prophet tell you why COVID came. Now you see and expect things to happen when I fast, and it does. Since I fasted, the war started in Iran. As soon as the next morning, the war started. When I went into a fast, that's not a coincidence. I want to keep showing people every time I fast, not just giving the offering, because you can question the offering, but you can't question fasting. You can't question fasting, and all of it is authentic, but most people ain't gonna question fasting and the authenticity of it, spiritually speaking, and how it's connected to God. So every time I fast, something happens. Every time I fast, lately, things are happening every single time, man. And I already knew that going in. I already knew that going into my fast. So, since this fast has happened, since I started this fast, this war in Iran already started. It already started. It already started. And every day as I progress, I'm fasting more and more and more and more. The progression is happening. As this fast is happening, it's escalating more and more. This war is escalating more and more and more. And it's a good parallel. It's a good alignment to be fasting while this war is happening, especially when it first started happening. So I'm glad to be fasting while this is happening. I'm glad to be fasting while it's happening, because ultimately what we're trying to do is cause escalation to take care of these gang stalkers. For me, it ain't even personal towards America. It's the fact that you let them people run around like you let white boys run around. Like white boys run around in America. You let black people do that. You let other people do it. Only people doing it is white people. But they came under your umbrella of secret society, and these black people running around like white people, doing what they want to do. It ain't black people. It ain't a black people privilege. Try to do the same thing, and you ain't with them secret societies. They gonna pull you over, buddy. They go the secret societies start with white people, don't it? It starts with white people, don't it? Okay. You can have different divisions. We don't care about that. It starts with white people, don't it? Yes. So, it's white privilege. Okay? You're running around like white boys. You're running around like white girls. And that's how we interpret it. Because a black man can't even sneeze wrong before the authorities are coming, as you can see. So that's why we are spiritually targeting America, because America allowed it. They let them ride around, and they joined it, and they had not enough reason to play with me. Okay? I don't care how you feel about me personally, because I know your mind is on cartoon time, and what's gonna sober up a cartoon brain, a person that got a brain like a cartoon, what's gonna sober that up is reality. Reality. War in reality. That's what's gonna sober everybody up. They already got alerts in New York where everything is on high alert. They're ready for people to attack this country right now. See, that's where my mind is at, buddy. Why you're waiting for the next psychological attack you think you can get in because you're a buster. And you're a gay buster, which is worse. And you're a lesbian buster, which is worse. That's how we're looking at it. So we're not focused on those people no more. We're going to let them run around like dogs chasing their tail. You ever seen a dog chase his tail? We're going to let them walk around like dogs chasing their tail. It's a one-sided game. I made this very clear in the past. This is a one-sided game. I'm not participating in that. Did you think I was participating? See, if you're on the outside, you think I'm participating. I'm not participating with that. I'm just taking care of my business. Because I'm taking care of my business, you might think that's my response. That's my back and forth with the game. Nah. If you followed me from the beginning, from day one, you would have seen I already did videos saying that that's a one-sided game. I don't participate in this. That's why anybody here, they call themselves on my side, thinking that I participate with this stuff. Maybe that's what it is, because you see me active, right? So maybe you think I'm squaring up with these particular people. I beat them too many times. I beat them too many times for them to be in my face. So I don't see them. I'm focused on these wars. I'm focused on war in Iran. I'm focused on wars in the Middle East, because this is a different ball game than South America. This is a whole different ball game. But yeah, when they did that to Maduro, mind you, they still got Maduro up here. When they did that to Maduro, the country wasn't on high alert. You know what I'm saying, from the repercussions. But now that they did that to Iran, and they killed the leader of Iran, for sure. The reason why I didn't comment on it first, lately, because I wasn't sure. It was a back and forth, people saying he was alive, he wasn't, or whatever. But it's too many confirmations from Iran that he's not alive. People mourning in the streets and things like that. So that's what I look at. With that being said, if you don't know me, I've been in alliance with Iran for a couple years, for some years now. Not just as this started like a corny Super Bowl game where you get your chips and you decide to pick, when you don't really follow sports, but you decide to get chips and get a jersey and follow a certain team. Nah, that's not what this is. This is not somebody going to get a jersey, but I don't even follow football, nor do I follow that team. But I'm going to go get some chips and get a jersey and act like I'm on this person's side. That's what you're doing with me. You're going to get a jersey like you represent me, and going to get chips like you on my side. It don't work like that, bro. That's corny. That's what I expect that of an American, because if not for any other reason, it's because of the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is why you think this is a game, per se. This is not no game. This is the end. And for a lot of people that grew up on the internet and or in the internet, you're not going to be able to come to terms with the fact, out of all countries, America is not going to be able to do nothing about this. They ain't going to be able to do nothing about it. So you can let Trump go over there and grandstand with the technology that really wasn't his efforts. It's already, he inherited that, the strength of America. It's not really his efforts. It's just a thought process to go over here and attack who you esteem as the enemy. I mean, that's as far as it goes, as far as efforts, as far as I see, as far as Trump. All he did was make a decision to oppose who he esteemed as the enemy. That's far as it goes. As far as his efforts, where are they? His only effort was, he only gets credit for attacking Iran when most Americans wouldn't have done it. That's the only thing he get credit for. But the double-edged sword is that you don't know how these cards are going to fall. Iran has many, even though I don't think they backed all these terrorist organizations, I do believe terrorists will retaliate against these people you call Americans. That's why they're on high alert, because even though I don't agree with them being the greatest terrorist state and all of that, I don't know how far I agree with that coming from white America. But you gotta do research for yourself, especially with Trump. He gonna throw stuff out there, throw sound bites out there that you gotta go see if that's even true. How many times he done said he done the greatest thing, this, he the greatest on that, and the greatest on this. And without even researching it, that's fabricated. You know what I mean? So with the dude in Iran being this greatest, Iran being the greatest terrorist state, the leader was this hideous monster that did all this stuff to people. I don't know how exaggerated that is. So I don't choose to hold that as my worldview. You know what I mean? I don't choose to hold that as that, because I know how there's things about America, like racism around the world, and people are not perfect. People deal like how Americans deal with racism is not how people in the Middle East deal with racism. And it's nobody in the world. You're going to tell me all these Americans went over there and they ain't never showed no signs of racism or byproducts of racism. See, what I believe is back in the 1940s, the 1930s and 20s, they were racist all around the world. And from that came the original terrorist out of white racism in these different countries. Because think about it, how they going to respond to these people coming over there that are trying to dominate other men's country, and how the racism manifests is not racial slurs. They probably don't have racial slurs from all these different ethnicities, but their racism manifests based on trying to dominate another man's country, like you're more competent than him, and insulting his intelligence, like you're just going to take over his natural resources, because that was the main reason, was the natural resources, taking over the natural resources and thinking that you're going to just take from this country and do as you will with this country. That's how white American racism manifested in these different countries. That's how it manifested. It manifested by going into different countries and raiding their natural resources foundationally. Foundationally, it came from raiding the natural resources. That's how it came. That's how racism manifested. Racism is, get out the way, boy. You're incompetent. You're incompetent people. Let me show you how to run this country, boy. And people realized it was or they may have not realized that this was really racism manifesting. How it manifested around the world was esteeming other authorities and governments as incompetent, esteeming other ethnicities of men as incompetent to white men by their actions, by insulting their intelligence, by stripping their lands of resources. This was how white supremacy and racism manifested in other countries. So what I want you to think about is, how did racism manifest in other countries? How did racism from white Americans that was fueled on demonic racism, how did it manifest in the entire world in the 1940s, the 1930s, the 1920s, the 1900s, the late 1800s? How did it manifest in the world? Because this is my next question for you to be provoked to ponder this. You think they were just racist towards black people here, and they wasn't racist with other ethnicities all over the world? So they were just racist with white people, black people. The only significant racism, see what I'm saying? The only significant racism, you think it was with black people? So the rest of the world, with all these different people that don't look white, don't talk white, don't act white, because that's what a racist is going to be uncomfortable about, is people who are different, who act and behave different, and their customs are different. They may even dress different. For a racist, that's what's going to make them uncomfortable, I guess you could say. So you're telling me there was no racism in the rest of the world? You're telling me it wasn't any racism? So they were just racist towards black people, but when they went into other countries, they was perfect. They treated them good. Here's another question. How did they treat other Africans when they was racist over here? How did they treat Africa when they was racist in America? Here's what you need to look at. When they were racist towards black people, how did they just turn it off in another country? Did they just turn it off? Look at the fact that they were racist in the military. Or they wasn't? What I want you to go back and do is go down memory lane when the police was racist, when military was racist. And I want you to think about racist military similar to Nazis by worldviews. By worldviews, they were they thought they were superior as white Americans to everybody else. They thought they were superior to everybody else. Okay, so that's similar to the worldviews of Nazis. What nobody don't want to acknowledge is that America, by worldviews, have been very similar to the worldviews of Nazis. Their worldviews are similar to Nazis. So they think that they're superior to other races, that they're the perfect race. They just didn't say it like Nazis, but white Americans thought they were the perfect race. Right or wrong. They held themselves as more competent than others. So what's the difference than what's the different worldview than Hitler? Hitler thought that blonde hair and blue eyes was superior to everybody else. In so many thought processes or worldviews, what's the difference with white Americans? They basically insinuate the same thing. That blonde hair and blue eyes is above everybody else. Right or wrong. That's 7 out. So you basically thought that in your worldviews. You might have not distinguished it like Hitler and said blonde hair and blue eyes, but you put fair European skin and white Americans as superior to everybody else. You put Europeans as superior to everybody else, just like the Nazis, just like Adolf Hitler. Your worldview basically was similar to Hitler's worldview of white Europeans as superior to other communities. It's no different. So they were racist in the military, just like the Nazis. Now that you got that and you realize it's a worldview, this worldview was in the military just like the Nazis. It was in the police state just like the Nazis. In fact, the Americans are the closest nation just like the Nazis. You get it, right? Okay. So with that being said, how do you think when they begin to dominate the world, how do you think they went all around the world? What you think their attitude was? The attitude of Nazis. That we're above these people. We're above these Indians in India. We're above these Chinese people. We're above the Middle East. We're above all these different ethnicities, these Africans. We're above all these people. So are we going to slow down and oppress them? There's no time to do that, right? So what did they do if it's no time to slow down and oppress them? They went and stripped all the lands of resources. They took the goods, the resources, and they dominated other countries. And this was racism. This is how racism manifested. Racism manifested as we gonna dominate this country. We gonna take over this country. We might not call you a racial slur, but we esteem you as incompetent. So we feel that us as white Americans can run your country better. That's what the insinuation is. That's how racism manifested in other countries. What I want you to realize is they're not telling you all their history with the world. You think these white Americans are going to tell you all their history with other countries, things you couldn't have possibly knew because other countries didn't have the power to articulate it, and some didn't even know it was happening to them until you could see it, but they might have didn't see it. Foreign people from a different culture may not have realized the bamboozling that America was doing all around the world. It might have went over their head because they just didn't realize it. Especially when it came to finances and resources and everything like that. If you're taking this person that's innocent, but he's a con, you don't know what he's doing. Especially if you're from a different country, a different culture. So it's no way you can tell me you know all the stories of what America did to these people in America, in the rest of the world. They could have raped their women. They could have did all kind of stuff to their children. I want you to think about this. These are the same racist people that was in other countries. I mean, here in this country, raping black women in slavery, doing all kind of things. And you telling me they just cleaned up their act when they went across seas? They were lynching and flying around the world. These same people had the worldviews of Southern men lynching black men. They had the same worldviews. Can you agree with that? They had the same worldviews. When you go back to the 1920s, the 1930s, when the World War One had started, and before World War One, when they were going all around the world, they had most of the American population had the worldviews of Nazis, that white Americans are above everybody, not just black people. What I want you to realize is, when you look internationally, they thought they were above everybody. Oh, he just thought he was above black African people. This racist white man had already brought you here from slavery, so he was already around the world. He's seen different tribes of people. Wake up. You wasn't the only people he's seen, right? So how do you think he looked at other people? As inferior to white Americans. So how did that manifest? Through raping the land of their goods, through trying to run their governments for their own benefits. You don't know, what I challenge you to realize is, you don't know all the stories of everything that happened. You don't know all the history of when they had the worldviews of Nazis. At that time, let's not even think about how long it was that they had this worldview. We know they had it for a long time, right? But let's just say it started around slavery time, that they was more condescending towards non-white people. So let's start there. Can you say you know all the history of what they did in other countries? And you think that's squeaky clean, all the history they got in other countries? I'm talking about as far as racism. That's what I'm talking about. Not the wars. Racism manifested in different countries from white Americans. How do you think, you see where it's elementary as far as how people are thinking about this? You only think that the white Americans was racist towards black people. They were racist all around the world. They were racist in all these different countries. How did it manifest? Because there's no way in the world you're going to tell me men that have similar worldviews to Nazis just go to other countries and they're cool. Oh, hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? You think that's how they was? No, they sat back with the same racist worldviews they had over here in America, that they just had 12 hours ago before they flew over there. So how did it manifest? It manifested by stripping lands, plural, of natural resources and running governments of other countries. And some people, here's the punchline, became terrorists against America as a result of racism in their country. This began the terrorist seed in America, towards America specifically. What they tell you is it's an Islamic worldview. No, it's not. It is how terrorists, the original terrorist seed against America specifically, is because of white America going into other people's country with racism. And they're not able to tell you that's what it's really all about. I'm talking about the original terrorists. I ain't talking about all this stuff now going on. I'm talking about what really started it. My perspective is it was the racism that came where these white Americans had Nazi-like worldviews and they went into other countries and people wasn't taking it. So then how did they not take it? What did they do as a response? They responded with terrorism. So basically, original terrorism towards America started with racist white America as a response to racist white America. Doesn't that make all the sense in the world? And we'll never know why they didn't explain it. I guess they assumed we knew they was racist. There was no need to explain it. But they did need to explain it. That the original terrorist was a response to racist white America internationally. Internationally, the response to racism in America, from America, was terrorism. Terrorism was the response to racist white America. This is how it started. Racism had to have started that way. You think they didn't? You think the countrymen of those other countries sat back and just did nothing while America came over there? Crazy as they was in their own country, and I say that respectfully. Crazy as they was in their own country, killing each other, fighting each other. You think they let white America just come over there? They were like, who is this? They didn't know who you were in the world at that time. Think about it. Some countries wasn't aware of how powerful America was in the beginning. It was just like, who is these people? Who are these Europeans coming over here? Think about it. In the beginning, that was the response. Who are these people coming over here? Remind you, we have no internet. Many people didn't even have television. Many people maybe not even have radios. All you see with no media is these white people coming over here. That's what I want you to think about. Let's center our mind when we think about this in the Middle East, because that's where they complain about the terrorists all the time anyway. So let's put our minds there. They got no radios, they got no TVs, they got no media. Maybe only newspaper, right? So white Americans just show up and just raid the resources. All they know is once they left, they figured out that they took something. They figured it out, right? That was the racism. All they know is they figured out that now these white men, these fair-skinned men, were putting them under surveillance and standing around their communities. And you telling me you know all the stories of what they did to the people out there? You don't. You do not. You couldn't possibly know. You couldn't possibly. What I want you to think about is you listen. You're one-track minded, thinking you know all the stories that happened. When you got millions of Americans that have been stationed over in the Far East throughout the decades, you don't know all what they did. Raping the women. You telling me they ain't raped the women? Of course they did. They did all kind of stuff. Remind you, this country was racist towards you and still is racist towards you. It's still racist towards you, right? That part. So how you think they was over there? And how you think they are over, and now you get it. You didn't put it all together. Racism over here and racism over there. There you go. Now you got it. Racism over here, racism over there. Now you're not one-track minded. Hey, I hate to talk to you like you're an idiot, but hey, you didn't do the thinking. You didn't do the thinking that I'm doing. Racism over here, racism over there. Now you got it, don't you? Now you get it. They were racist over here and racist over there. You telling me they wasn't? You telling me, oh, they just went over there and they was nice over there? Mind you, we still got racism right now in the government. We still so with that being said, you telling me there's no history of racism in all over the Far East, all over in them different countries. And the response to that was terrorism. Now you see terrorism a little differently. And you know it adds up with the people in the Middle East. Think about it. How you think they're going to respond? Now you get it. Now you get it. I want you to think about this. If America was a good, nice country and doing everybody right, why would they want to kill and hurt and harm people that's helping them? Think about it. I don't care what color you come from. That's retarded. If you want to help somebody that's you want to hurt somebody that's helping you, who gonna be retarded like that? It don't matter where you come from and what your creed is or whatever. Ain't nobody gonna harm a country that's coming over and helping them. You're gonna be glad to see them coming. Man, listen, you're gonna be glad to see them coming, man. It don't add up. You know what adds up? You know what adds up with why they hate America all around the country, all around the world? Because they was racist all around the world. And it's common sense. Now you get it. This was the original terrorist seed. It was a response to white America being racist from the 1800s after slavery. Think about it. They went out into the world. Don't be one track minded. They wasn't only here. They went and sailed ships and went to other countries. Before the airplanes, they were sailing across the world. Well, how did they get African Americans here, buddy? From boats. So put it together. Don't be simple-minded. They were selling out, even during slavery. What they don't show you, they were selling out to the world. During slavery, they ain't just say, well, we're here now with the slaves. We're going to just not go nowhere. We ain't going to go nowhere else. We got slaves now. We ain't going to do nothing else. See, I got to pull you out of being one-track minded, because that's part of the Jedi mind trick of the Americans. Now expand your mind and think about the whole story. They had slaves here and they were still selling out boats to different countries. Now you see it, don't you get it? During slavery time, while they had slaves, simultaneously they was selling out to different countries. During the slavery time, mind you, they going back and get slaves too from Africa during that time, right? So you don't think they was going nowhere else? Of course they was. And do you think once they got the ball rolling with slavery, they wasn't racist towards other people? They was. Now you get it. Once they got the ball rolling, you don't think they became more racist over time with other countries? Once they realized all that they done and who they was in the world and how they had this island country separate from the rest of the old world, and they realized it, and it dawned on them that they were separate basically from the world, you don't think they started feeling themselves and took the racism that they had here abroad to everybody else? This white supremacy and American supremacy, you don't think they took it abroad to everyone else? So my question to you is, how did that manifest? Don't be simple-minded like a gesture, like it was just a gesture and they was cool. They withheld their racism. They kept it in their chest until they left, until they got back on the boats. You think they kept the racism in their chest until they got back on the boats and left the country? Or did it manifest, did racism, white American racism manifest in different countries? That's 7 out. Do you think white racism manifested in other countries? Yes or no? No, this is a conversation that nobody talked about. Show me somebody else that talked about it. Racism from white America manifesting all around the world. How did it manifest all around the world? Because they ain't going to tell you. It was racist. They going to cover it up. They ain't going to tell you what they did. And the people, like I said, the locals in other countries, that stuff was going over their head. They wasn't sophisticated enough to know what they was doing. You telling me they wasn't doing nothing? Yes, they was. Yes, they was. They was racist in other countries. That's what I'm trying to show you. Look at it like this. They was racist into the whole world. And you think ain't nobody gonna bite you? This is what happened. The original seed of terrorism was conceived as a response of racist white America. Now, don't you see terrorists different? The black man gonna see terrorists differently. I'm gonna see the white man been putting it in your mind what the real reason is for terrorism. You see what I'm saying? And you halfway low key would have done the same thing. If anybody could be a legitimate terrorist here in America, it will be black people. Well, look how you've been treated. If you was another country in the Middle East, you would have been blowing up white Americans. If you was built like that, you would have been. You set up to be a terrorist right now. Look how they did you. Look how they treat you. It just wasn't your culture. You was groomed well from slavery, and he conditioned you and controlled you and groomed you. If you was in another country, you would have been blowing them up. Racism produces terrorism. Racism produces terrorism. See, white America don't want to hear that. See, that's too much truth. That's too much truth. Racism produced terrorism. At least towards the Americans. At least towards how these people hate you. As Americans. You know where it came from? I guarantee you racism had something to do with it. How they see you and you got all the goods and everything. Why they see you backwards then? How they see you backwards and you got all the goods. You show me any country that would think like that. That's retarded. This is how you figure it out. Why would they hate America if America got all the goods? At face value, let's just scratch the part that they do take resources and they do try to run people's government, right? Let's just go before that. Before that, why would they hate you? And you got all the goods, and you coming in, you know what I mean? You always got something, and you always got money, you always got food and goods. Why would they hate America? Because you was racist towards these other people. That's what you was. Yeah. See, the truth comes out in the last days. You was racist towards these other countries. See, the prophet gonna figure it all out, buddy. You was racist towards these other countries, just like you racist towards us. And then terrorism came out of that. They wanted to blow you up. They wasn't controlled like an animal like we was. See, the only difference is between these Middle Eastern Arab men than us as black people. They're not controlled like we are. Oh, you are controlled. Well, explain to me why you haven't risen to the ranks that you're supposed to be in and you black in America. Because you're controlled. Oh, you don't believe it? Let me show you something. Chinese people are beat you to a position. And listen, I'm not racist towards Chinese people. But I'm calling it how it is. Chinese people beat black people to the position they're supposed to be in this country. It's white people and then Chinese people. Oh, you didn't realize that, did you? Oh, you thought it was white people, then black people. Not as far as land and money. Oh, culture. Listen, culture is a knockoff empire. Like a knockoff Gucci bag. You know how you got knockoff Gucci bags? It ain't got the tags on it, ain't got everything. For black people, you got a knockoff empire, which was the culture. They made you feel like that's an empire. The Chinese have the oldest empire in America besides white people. Chinatown. Chinatown is not just 10 years old. You know that, right? Chinatown ain't 10 years old, is it? No, I'm just listening. I know some people are one-track minded, man. Chinatown is not just in one city. You got to say this, buddy. You got to say this. You got to do it. Chinatown is in every great metropolis in the United States of America. Chinatown is just, in other words, where Chinese people are. You notice that you don't see Chinese people walking down the streets. You ever seen a beautiful Chinese 25-year-old Chinese woman walking down the street outside of Chinatown? You ain't never seen it, did you? You know why? You ever thought about that? Why you don't see beautiful Chinese women outside of Chinatown? Just walking in the hood, just walking through your neighborhood. Every once in a while you see white people, don't you? You ever notice you don't see Chinese people? You ain't never seen really beautiful Chinese young women, like in their 20s, just walking around? You ever notice you don't really see Chinese dudes just walking around? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Pay close attention. Because they have their own land in America. They have their own land here as theirs, which means white America doesn't even come there. No, white America is not in Chinatown. They gave them their land and left them alone. Oh, you didn't realize that, did you? So where's white America in Chinatown? For the most part, it's his land. It's an understanding between him and white America. This is his land. And he rules it like that. Oh, you didn't realize he ruled Chinatown. You didn't realize the Chinese. Oh, you just thought we was all controlled. Chinese people ain't controlled. Chinese people are not controlled. You think they got people, the police riding through every 15 minutes in Chinatown? You think the police is patrolling Chinatown like they patrol black people? Nope. That was supposed to be you. Black people, that was supposed to be you. You know that? Chinatown was supposed to be you. I can sit down with the Chinese and prove that intelligently. Chinatown was supposed to be you as black people. You were supposed to have land just like the Native Americans. You were supposed to have land just like the Native Americans. The ancestors, this is where they dropped the ball. They did not voucher or fight for land like the Native Americans. They just said 40 acres and a mule. No, we ain't talking about 40 acres and a mule. We ain't talking about that. That's plots of land out here in the country. No, we're talking about separate land like the Native Americans. You could have got it after slavery. All you had to do was tell them you don't feel comfortable after slavery being brought here from Africa and you want to be separate like them people over there. And you would have had a reference point to prove for as Native Americans, they would have been your reference point. And I guarantee if you would have fought hard enough, being that you went through similar persecution as the Native Americans, I guarantee you would have got your own land, like reservation land. That's where the African Americans dropped the ball. You wanted to go and live where the white man lives. The Native American man said, I'll stay on this land and it's my land. The Chinese say, I'll stay on this land and I don't care if it looks good. I'm not. It's my land. That white man ain't in it. You go get money and go live in what they call white neighborhoods. See that? They already done tagged it as a white neighborhood. Got you thinking and programmed that it's a white neighborhood. So where you got to go? You have no land. That's why you're in trouble. You got no land. You the only community that got no land. One of the most dense populations of people that got no land. Everybody else do. Pay attention. Chinese people is Chinatown. That's their land. Oh, it ain't? You don't see white people walking around Chinatown? They gonna feel uncomfortable. With the dense population of Chinese people, they ain't gonna fit in. Ain't no American culture. They got their own Chinese culture. Why American gonna walk around Chinatown? He gonna be discouraged. He ain't gonna see nothing that's American really. He ain't gonna know what the people saying. He ain't gonna know they talking their own language. They got their own food. Ain't gonna be no fast food up in there. Cause if they put fast food in Chinatown, guess what? If it's there, guess what? It's on the outskirts, right? Listen, think about what I'm saying. When I went through Chinatown, even in San Francisco, see, you've been in Chinatown to New York. I've been through Chinatown to New York and San Francisco on foot, ground level, living there, right? I've interacted with Chinese in New York and San Francisco. Not Koreans, because you think on California there's Koreans. Okay, yeah, they got Koreans there too. No, but I'm talking about Chinatown. I'm talking about Chinatown in San Francisco. You ever been there? Come on, man. Let me tell you something, man. They got their own land. in America and you didn't get yours. You know why? You wanted to go live in the midst of fighting for your rights. You wanted to go live where he lived. That's the mistake you made. You wanted rights so bad, you didn't think about it. Why I want rights to live where he lived? Doy. No, I don't want to go that far. That's what you should have thought. The Native Americans say, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to live where he lived. No, I don't want to live among that man. You went so hard with fighting for rights, you vouched to live where he lived. But guess what the problem is? You just lived on his land just like the plantation. Rich people living on white man's land like the plantation, just like we did in the plantation. And I can show you how Chinese people, they have less valuable architecture, still have their own land. And that's most important. Architecture, I don't care how it look. At least that white man ain't gonna be here. Chinese people already had that. They had that for decades. They got Chinatown in every great metropolis. You go to any metropolis, you can find Chinese neighborhoods, and that's Chinatown. You can go to any metropolis worth something in America, and you ask them, where's Chinatown? You ain't even got to say, where's the Chinese people living? You can say, where's Chinatown? Oh, it's over there on the east side, back there in the east. They got their own land, and I'm not hating on it. I'm not knocking it. All I'm saying is I can sit down with them, and I can prove that I should have been first in line for Chinatown, way away from this white man. But we had our ancestors is part of the fault, not just Chinese people ain't the fault. Our ancestors fought for rights so hard to the extreme that you fought to live among him. Some people even moving in white neighborhoods just to prove you can be there. See, in our minds, people that's black still do that. You just want to go where people go. You want to go and show the white man I can live where you live. Okay, you proved your point, but you ain't got no land. See that? It's like a Homer moment. Don't. Okay, you proved you could live here, but it's white people's land. You see that part? It's where he lives when he got money. Why would you want to go there? You want to be where your people are when they get money. You ain't got that. Oh, you can have sections. You got sections, don't you? You got sections, but not land. Rich black people got sections, but not land. What you should have done is vouchered for similar land as reservation land that the Native Americans had. Tell the truth, I'm the only leader that you heard even talk about this. You can't even find Malcolm X talking about it. You can't. No, listen, I got to show people my worth. I got to show people my value, because you still thinking them people above me, and they ain't touch on a lot of things that I'm touching on. And I can't speak for the next man. I can't speak for you. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about stuff I know Malcolm X didn't talk about, or MLK didn't talk about, like vouching for our own land in America, just like the Native Americans did. Where by now we would have had our own land, and we would have had our own history with our land, where musicians would be coming to the reservation land of Africans, playing music, having festivals and things like that. Think about it. In 2026, we would have had a whole history now of reservation land in America. And I guarantee you, as black people, we would have improvised and made it something out of nothing. Because that's what we do. If we would have been given reservation land, we would have made it beautiful. Even white people would have been coming over there, drinking daiquiris, margaritas. Yeah, I'm going to go over there to the African reservation. They got a festival over there. We would have made them love it. We would have made them come and go to concerts on reservation land. You see how far we could have had this? We would have had enough land to have our own concerts. Can't you see it? How it's supposed to go? We would have been having musicians and concerts on our own reservation land, taking pride in the reservation land that we have. All kind of stuff. Don't you see what I'm talking about? History, our own history, literature, bookstores, everything. Unbothered by the white man. That's what we should have vouched for. That's what we dropped the ball. Listen, ain't nobody perfect. People did what they did, but we can go back and say, okay, that's where we dropped the ball. Come on now. Come on. That's where we dropped the ball. Ain't nobody going to do nothing perfect. That's where we dropped the ball. We should have vouched for reservation land similar to the Native Americans, and then being that we was the only two oppressed people the way we was oppressed, they would have gave it to you. All they would have did is keep looking back and forth and say, okay, we oppressed them, we oppressed them. Boom. We gave them reservation land. Okay, why can't we give them reservation land? Being that you brought them here. You brought them here, right? That's all we had to fight for, and we dropped the ball on it. That's all. That's all I'm talking. That's all I'm showing you. Now, up to date, that's the thing a man has to do is get land. Okay? A whole community. There's nothing other than what a man's supposed to do in his country. He's supposed to get land and separate for his tribe. Because you can't trust no tribe, other tribal people. Look what happened. You got to get among your own people. That's it. That's what Chinese people did. That's what Hispanic and Latinos did. Second in line was Hispanics. Hispanics got land in America. That's two tribes of people that beat you, and you sitting around looking like you're looking. They got land. You notice Mexican land is not all poverty. Well, okay, I want you to think about this. All these Mexicans that come here, why isn't it no big, huge ghettos in America for Mexicans? Where do they go? They ain't got no money. So then, at this point, why didn't it become, with all these Mexicans that's coming here, illegal or illegal, why didn't they start having these big, huge ghettos that reflect reality of these Mexicans coming here with no money? Did you think about that? Go to each city and you don't see no Mexican ghettos based on how many Mexicans come here. That's 7 out. All the Mexicans that come here, why by now you don't see no big Mexican ghettos? Think about it. By now, with all these illegal migrants coming in here, all these, and if they do come here the right way, they still broke sometimes. Why haven't they begun to construct big Mexican ghettos in every great metropolis of America? Why hasn't it happened? You want me to tell you why it didn't happen? Because they wasn't going to no ghettos. They wasn't going in. You know what happened? I'm gonna tell you what happened. The Americans got with the Mexicans and began to build low middle class neighborhoods for them that you didn't pay attention to. They began to give them monies, plural, for restaurants and companies and businesses, and they began to build low middle class neighborhoods all around the world, all around the country. If you go all around the country, Mexican communities do not have ghettos. Most of them have low middle class neighborhoods where they got money from the government to start restaurants in their own community. Because the first thing they're going to do is build restaurants, if not anything else. They're very festive people, and they're going to build restaurants with their own food. Okay? They like to live off their own food. We live off American food. Mexicans live off of their own food. Oh, you don't see the difference, do you? No, you live off American food. See how they got you? They got you eating plantation food. You know what plantation food is? Fast food. You don't have enough energy. You don't have enough magnesium. You eat like a child as a grown man. You go eat one burger, and I don't know no real man that want to eat one burger. The psychological part of fast food is not just the chemicals in it. It's not enough food sufficient to get all the vitamins to get your brain working. If I give you halfway a sandwich, I give you a sandwich, that ain't enough magnesium. Magnesium gonna make your mind clear. So I'm gonna condition you to eat little portions so you don't have enough vitamins to wake your mind up. It's not what the chemicals are in the fast food. It's the portions. that you as a grown man shouldn't be eating no little sandwich. A McChicken? Really? You a grown man. You condition yourself to accept that because you don't want to look greedy getting 3 combos. But that's really how you want to eat as a man. You want 3 sandwiches. Keep it 100. As far as the McChickens, couldn't you eat 3 of them? You sit back and say it all the time. I can eat 3 of those. I can eat 5 of them. That's a man. A man can eat about 3 to 5 McChickens. Easy. With the fries. With the drink. And then you satisfied. You ever notice you ain't never satisfied when you get a combo? It's almost like you're just doing it. Like it's so good. The food, see, they get you with the tastiness of it. That's the Jedi mind trick. Like, but it's good. It tastes good, but I'm not full. See how they got you? You just savor it. Oh, that was good. But you ain't full. See me? I went on the other side. I started eating pizza. They can't beat you when you eat pizza. The only way they can beat you when they eat pizza, it ain't enough meat on the pizza. That's how they get you right there. Them little scraps on the pizza. But still, it's bigger portions when you get a pizza. You eat about 4 or 5 slices as a man. A man, I get a plate. Yeah, give me about 4 slices. Boom. I ain't getting two slices. I'm eating 4 slices. Now, in New York, y'all got them big giant. That's an extra large in the South. What y'all call a large here is an extra large. We can get the same size, but that's an extra large. We can't get in the South. We don't. What y'all call large is an extra large. Every once in a while, I got an extra large, but we usually get larges, which is maybe a little bigger than a medium for y'all. But 4 slices is 4 slices. Average, you know how average slice look. 4 or 5 slices, that's how much a man eat. So for me, I always ate good because I kind of dodged fast food, and I got pizza more than anything else. So I ate good through the years because I didn't go with just, I'm going to eat this little sandwich right here, you know what I'm saying, and that's it. Look at that. You don't got no energy. That's why I always had energy. I was always moving around because I ate pizza instead of fast food. See that? See the part? See that part? And see, to be 100, white people gonna go with the pizza, ain't they? Yes. Let's keep it real. Let's start from back in the day. We know the Italians started. Now, come on, man, come on. We know the Italians started pizza. Who started them pizza shops? White people. So who gonna gravitate towards pizza? White people. We're carnivores in the black community, right or wrong. You want some meat, don't you? So what you gonna get? See, that's the Jedi mind trick. You're gonna go more for a sandwich that's exaggerated on the picture. The beef also exaggerated. And the Jedi mind trick is a double pounder or a quarter pounder. Still Jedi mind tricks, buddy. Them quarter pounders, you still can eat about 2 or 3 of those as a real man. I'm talking about skinny dudes. Skinny dudes, can't you down about 2 quarter pounders if you kept it 100? You saying it's inexpensive food? That's a Jedi mind trick too. It's the portions that they give you, even though it's convenient financially. Now it's not, because the Jedi mind trick is over. It's other things in place. And I can remember all that food used to be better. Even the cereal. I remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch. When that came out, they definitely have taken the sugar out of it. Maybe have taken some salt out of it. Sodium too, probably. I can remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch used to leave your milk with cinnamon all on it. Cinnamon all in it. Brown from cinnamon. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch will be drenched in powder. Just like drenched in it. Now, you get Cinnamon Toast Crunch and it's like a dry little wafer. It's like a dry little wafer. And for me, man, I mean, with modern, you could say something about sugar, man. But the thing is, my thing is this, bro. I mean, if people want to eat sugar, they gonna do it anyway. Ask a fat woman. If she want to eat sugar, she gonna eat it anyway. I'm not saying, okay, you can't do nothing about the sugar. You can't do nothing about it. I mean, man, I don't know, man. I think where there's a will, there's a way when it comes to food. Because you will find, guess what kids gonna do? And this is the punchline. You take all that sugar out of cereal. What you think a kid gonna do? This is not a trick question. If you take all the sugar out of cereal, what do you think? Not a man. What did you do when there wasn't enough sugar in the cereal? And it wasn't sweet enough. What did you do? If it didn't even taste sweet enough, what did you do? You put sugar in it, didn't you? Oh boy. All that moderation, and guess what a kid gonna do? Especially a teenager. A teenager is gonna come drenching down with sugar. And you ain't gonna say, oh, well, I'm supposed to eat it like this. They got me eating it like this now. What you think a teenager gonna do? What would you do when you was a teenager? It don't taste, you taste it a little bit, that ain't sweet enough. Especially black people. I ain't eating no bland cereal. Now, I'm a little older. If I'm working out, I can appreciate a non-sugar cereal so that I don't put on weight from the sugar. But as a kid, as soon as you taste the cereal, you taste Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That needs sugar. You're going to put some sugar on that. If you got cinnamon, you're going to do that too. You're going to say, well, I think I'm going to just jazz mine up with a little more sugar and cinnamon. Something missing. Even when you ate honeycombs. Now, an adult can eat honeycombs, right? What a kid gonna do with honeycomb? What you do with honeycomb cereal? Sugar. I remember when Frosted Flakes was white from the frost and the sugar on it. As a kid, when it was like still a whole bunch of sugar at the bottom of the bag, it was like sugar left in the bag. Now, Frosted Flakes is like Corn Flakes. It's just like almost like Corn Flakes. What you think kids do when they eat Frosted Flakes these days? They gonna put more sugar on it, man. I guarantee you. Little girls gonna do the same thing. It ain't sweet enough. A little girl gonna say, it ain't sweet enough. She gonna put a whole bunch of sugar on it, ain't she? Same thing with a boy. She gonna learn it from her brothers. The brother's gonna, yeah, here you go. Taste it now. Oh, that's good. See, we got addicted to the taste of sugar. Now that's psychological. You talking about stuff and chemicals and shoot. No, I want you to think about that. It don't even matter what it is that go with it. We just want to taste a lot of strong sugar. That's it. That's all we want to taste. It don't matter what it is. If it complements sugar, we just want to taste sugar. Some people, this is how you need to hear it. They want to eat sugar. That's it. You really want to eat sugar. Whether it's in your drink, I'm the same way. I can't lie. I gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? I just make sure I don't become a diabetic in the process. But I like to eat sugar. Everybody do. And if you keep it real, sometimes you ain't never ate a little bit of sugar by itself. Just put it in your mouth, ate a little bit of sugar. We like to eat sugar in this country, man. That's how conditioned we are with sweet tasting food. We like to eat sugar. And it comes from the sweet food we eat. All the sweet food we eat. We love eating sugar. Okay? So it don't matter if you moderate the sugar. Our culture, all we gonna do is put on more sugar. As a matter of fact, it's gonna be worse because we're gonna drench a whole bunch in the bowl. We're gonna put more than you would put in the box. Based on each bowl we eat, when we put our own sugar manually. So that just made it worse. For black families, ain't no black family gonna just, kids with big old bags of sugar. Even grown men, a black man ain't gonna eat no bland sugar. A sugar that's a cereal that's meant to be sweet. We gonna make it sweet. Ain't no way in the world I'm finna eat some cereal and then it ain't sweet. Like for example, Cheerios. Who eats plain? What black man eat plain Cheerios? What black man you know eat plain? What children you know gonna eat plain Cheerios? That's a perfect example. It has no sugar, but what people gonna do with it? Boom. That's how you know right there. Because even if you take all the sugar away and make it healthy, that people are still gonna put sugar on it. So what you think they doing with the other food? They gonna think it's even better because it got a little bit of sugar on it already. I'm putting a little more. That's good for a sugar eater. Oh, it already got a little bit of sugar. This gonna make it even better. It's no way around it, man. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, I mean, I guess you could say these companies felt that they would make themselves not liable. I mean, I will understand that. That people can't blame you for why their kids are diabetics. You know what I'm saying? Or pre-diabetic. You know, you could. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. But kids still gonna put sugar on their cereal. They still gonna do it. I'ma still do it. You know, if I get Cheerios or even oatmeal, who gonna eat plain oatmeal? Unless you on survival mode and you ain't got nothing. A grown man to do that. But who gonna eat plain when they got sugar? Who gonna eat plain oatmeal? From the black community. You ain't eating no plain oatmeal. You might, at minimum, you might put some bananas or some fruit in it. And you might let that go. But even then, you're gonna put a little bit of brown sugar in there. Right? Ain't no way in the world you're gonna eat no bland oatmeal. So with sugar and salt, that's how we are. And you just add the same thing with salt. See, I learned as a cook to not put so much salt. We like to eat salt. Some people, they don't learn the art of letting the essence of the meat or whatever you're cooking come out and blend it with the salt. Don't just drench it to where it's just salty. And some people just used to it. They like to eat salt. They like a salty taste. They like salty taste. Instead of pull back on the salt and let the real essence of whatever it is come out and complement it with the salt. That's how you're supposed to cook. Black people, we grew up drenching salt on everything. And we just, in our mind, we get triggered. Oh, that's good. But it's just really salt. That's it. With the flavor of what you taste, but you want that salt to come above it a little bit. See, that's how some people are. That's how some people are, man. But I learned as a cook to let the taste of whatever you eat and come out, but don't push so much salt and flavor that you can't taste the meat. Like chicken. If you cook chicken and, for example, I put all my seasoning in my flour, right, and mix it up. And then I roll my chicken around in the flour. If you make that flour so salty, it's going, for most people, it's going to waste. It's a waste. You wasted the food. You ruined the food. You cook chicken with it's a niche you gotta have. Measuring the salt, I don't measure salt like with measuring cups or whatever. I just got a niche, right? I know how it's gonna taste. That's how the old school is. I'm gonna put enough salt to where I complement the meat. When you taste the chicken, when you taste the meat, and the salt gonna complement around that. It ain't gonna come above it where it's real salty chicken. Some people like that. Some people like it. You know, but you just gotta learn the art of flavors. You know what I'm saying? To cook. Like for me, like for example, this is a perfect example. With macaroni and cheese, most black people don't put no sugar in it. Don't you know? If you make macaroni and cheese and you add a little bit of pepper, you add pepper and sugar, don't you know how much better your macaroni and cheese will be? Because it's already salty from the bold cheddar, usually cheddar or American cheese or whatever it is. It's usually the powder or the cheese is usually bold tasting, right? You don't really need to put no salt in it. You can put a little bit in it. But if you put some sugar in it, it'll make it not a whole bunch where you can taste the sugar. See, a chef know I can put sugar in here to make it better in a blend without it tasting sweet. It ain't gonna taste sweet. It's gonna be a different taste. It's gonna be a blend of sugar, but it ain't gonna taste sweet. I learned to cook my macaroni and cheese with putting some sugar in it. Man, it's so much better because you balancing out that bold, salty taste that comes with macaroni and cheese. And then if you add other cheese with it, it's gonna be even more saltier on the saltier side. So I put a little bit of sugar in it. I learned to do that. Put a little bit of sugar in it, and pepper. Pepper brings out macaroni and cheese. I just learned to balance learn to be a master with the seasonings. That's all. That's really what it is. With cooking, you know, because you're gonna cook it, you're gonna heat it up. You know, how do you season it? How you season your food is all really what cooking really is. I mean, as far as heating it up, the art is with food is to not overcook it so you don't dry it out. So for chicken or any meat, the art is let me cook it just enough so it's juicy and the blood is out, right? But it still contains this natural juice where I bite through it and it's juicy. Some people don't, because you're used to eating fast food chicken. You're not used to juicy chicken. They can't have juicy chicken at Popeyes. They can't have juicy chicken because the chicken sit up there under a heater. That's what you didn't notice. You like the skin of the chicken, but it sits up on a heater, or you know, and it's gonna dry out. When you at home, some people cook their chicken just like at fast food restaurants. They can't afford to really pay attention and cook it to perfection. When you cook chicken, you're supposed to cook it to where it's still any meat supposed to preserve its natural juices. How you missing the best part, because now you tasting the meat. If you dry it out, you ain't gonna really taste the meat. You're gonna taste the flesh of the meat. But if you let it preserve its juices, now you eating the meat. Now you eating real good meat. So a real good cook know how to cook even steak. You ain't gonna dry out no steak. People have heard this, don't dry out the food, but they don't know why. They haven't been explained. They haven't had it explained to them so that it preserve its natural juices. Now me, on the other hand, I'm a cook that I'd rather it be overcooked than undercooked. That's my rule. So if sometimes every once in a while it gets tricky when you're cooking, and for whatever reason you feel the need to cook it a little more, right? I'd rather overcook my meat than undercook my meat. That's my rule. I'll eat a piece of overcooked meat that's a little on the dry side than something undercooked. You know, especially when it comes to any kind of seafood. You can't play with seafood. You gotta cook that meat. But most meat in a skillet, you cook it 5 minutes on both sides. That's my rule. I cook most stuff on 5 minutes on both sides, you know. But you gotta cook whatever meat you cook, even fish. Fish is better if you know how to cook it where you don't dry it out. Especially fish, you can't dry it out, you know. But it's just an art of learning, you know, what temperature to have the food at, because you don't want to burn the outside and the inside ain't done. So you can't cook your food too fast. You know what I'm saying? You got to cook it to where the outside the surface don't burn, the skin don't burn off, but the inside obviously is not done. You can do that. If you put it on high and you put a piece of food in there, the outside gonna be burned in like a couple minutes, and it ain't gonna be done in the middle and the inside. No, it's gonna be blood all through the chicken. All you did was made it so hot it just burned the outside. Think technically speaking, as soon as it hit the surface, that's gonna burn. Anything that's gonna hit that surface is gonna burn, right? That's gonna be the skin, the best part. You know what I'm saying? So when you cook it slow, that's always better. Another hack while we talk about food is cooking everything slow is always going to be better. It's always going to be better. If you can cook anything slow and get away with it, you know what I mean, right? Cooking something slow is going to be better. It's always going to be better. And in the black community, you learn that from crock pots. Back in the day, we had them crock pots. Man, you eat anything in the crock pot, especially like chili. You cook some chili and cook it for hours in a crock pot. Man, boy. Beans, pinto beans, you cook them in the crock pot. You cook them from hours and hours and hours. The last time I ate technically from a crock pot was my father-in-law. I was living with my father-in-law. He made some beans, some pintos, like in a crock pot. Man, they were just basically falling apart, man. The juice on it was good, everything. It leave an impression, man. Crock pot cooking is great. It can never play out because it's just slow cooking, the best kind of cooking. But you know, like I said, the portions of food in fast food is how they get you. Because as a grown man, I do believe even if you're on a diet, you should have bigger portions, if not for any other reason, so that you get enough vitamins. Because if I give you a little portion of meat, you're not getting a lot of magnesium. Therefore, your mind is not as super as it should be. A superhuman takes magnesium. It's a hack that a lot of people might not understand, because we just controlled by what other people say we should eat and how they train us to eat. You get trained to eat a certain way. You get trained to eat a certain way. So if you do eat meat from these places, you should get like 2 or 3 sandwiches. You should get like 2 or 3 sandwiches, because then you're going to feel more clear-minded. If you ever notice, anytime you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, you ever notice by the time you hit the parking lot how good you feel? Everybody can remember that feeling. Like, and you might think it's the conversation you have with your family or friends and you feel good. It's not that. You ate at an all-you-can-eat buffet. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. First thing you're going to do, this is a perfect example. What you going to do? You're going to get 2 or 3 plates of food, ain't you? You ain't going to just eat one. If you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, you going to get 1 plate of food? No. The main gimmick is, I'm trying everything. I'm trying this, I'm trying that. Yeah, how was that? You ask people, how was that? Let me get some of that. You get up and, hey, I'm the person, I go get up, let me go get some of that. I get this, I get that, I come back, you got like 2 or 3 plates. That's what they expect. That's how you're supposed to eat. And you notice that when you come out of the all-you-can-eat buffet, don't you notice how good you feel by the time you hit the parking lot? It's that feeling, right? Like, woof. I remember distinctly feeling this woof feeling. You know what that is? That's all the magnesium, all the vitamins. That's what it is. You ain't gonna feel that from fast food, not because it's not capable. It's the portions that you eat. The portions is what Jedi mind trick people, where you get these small portions and then you're not getting any magnesium. You're not getting any vitamins. You go to all-you-can-eat buffet, you're going to get dessert. You're going to get about 2 or 3 desserts. At least 2. You're going to eat 2 or 3 meats. You're going to get some little rice, some little pasta, some little stuff like that, some little vegetables, some good vegetables, cabbage or whatever you eat. Spinach, collard greens, something like that. Depending on what kind of all-you-can-eat buffet you at. But you're going to get a lot of different meats. You're going to get all different kind of stuff. Shrimp, steak, chicken, all that. And that's magnesium. You come out feeling great. That's how you're supposed to eat. That's how you're supposed to eat. And but you're more conditioned on fast food, which you're not getting all you're supposed to get. And the Jedi mind trick is, oh, that's good enough. That was a meal. It wasn't a meal. It wasn't a meal for a grown man. You ate fries and a little sandwich. How is that a meal for you? And all you get off on is how tasty it is, but you're not getting a bigger portion. You go home and you eat about 3 hours, don't you? If you go get a combo while you out, how long does it take you to eat again? About 2 or 3 hours. Some people might come in and eat straight, go eat right after that. Eat some cereal. You might at least eat some cereal. Black man, come in, I ate And if you're young, see, I'm still young enough to eat cereal. Now, I eat me something out in fast food. I'm gonna come in and eat me some cereal. I mean, later on, about 2 hours, I eat me a sandwich. And whatever else, some little pasta, some little stuff. Then I'm gonna justify eating dinner, and then that's a whole another meal right there. See, I come from the South, man. We foodies, so people might get it confused because I fast a lot. They might think, oh, this dude's got an eating disorder. No, I don't. I just proved it. I can cook. I know about food. I come from North Carolina. We eat the best food down there. Stuff you may have not even tasted, like pepper steak. Man, my aunt, she used to make the best pepper steak with the strips of steak in it, with the juice, and you put that over rice. And it got green peppers and red peppers. I think specifically got red peppers in it. I think she got green peppers in it too, but definitely red peppers. And she knew I used to like it. She was like, I brought more. She used to always tell me every time we have like a little a little party or a little get together, she always come to single me out and say, I brought more pepper steak. I know you like it down there. I brought more pepper steak. I used to love her pepper steak. Man. See, as a kid, I ate like a man. I didn't eat a whole bunch of junk food because I'm from the South. A kid learned to enjoy good food from the South. We eat full meals. You'll see a little kid eating beans, macaroni, like stuff you don't expect a little kid to eat. Like, man, he eating mashed potatoes and gravy and sophisticated little food. He got a little sophisticated plate of food, don't he? He eat macaroni cheese, little kid, like 3 or 4 years old. Macaroni cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, little Salisbury steak, peas. And you thinking, man, that little kid, he gonna eat that? From the South, man, listen. I grew up on all that good food, man. Junk food, did we like it? Yeah, but it was Southern junk food. Which is it's a tricky situation. My grandmother used to make what we call sticky buns. This is like cinnamon buns, but homemade. She used to make sticky buns with chicken, fried chicken, and okra, and sticky buns after church. Wow, the sticky buns was like cinnamon buns. And we call them sticky buns, man. Man, it was so good, bro. So good. My grandma used to make red velvet cakes, all kind of cakes. She made like 3 or 4 layers every time and put it in a little glass dish. She was that type of grandmother. She put a cake in a glass dish, red velvet cake, all kind of cakes, man. Chocolate cakes, of course. Chocolate on chocolate, yellow cakes, banana pudding. Man, we ate everything. Banana pudding, man. And the thing about a good black family, everybody has mastered something. Every cook has mastered a dish that only they mastered because they probably like it. That's what I'm guessing. And so each family member will have a dish that they mastered. And that's how it usually work. Everybody bring a dish that they met. No, you bring this and you bring that. No, you can't cook this because you dry this out. You don't do this right. You make it a little too on the salty side. She mastered that. You bring this. That's what you mastered. That's how black families gonna sit around and talk. When I was a kid, man, before I was even a teenager, my aunt, she mastered this pepper steak. Man, it had the juice and everything. Not like thick gravy juice, like kind of watery kind of juice. But just right, just straight beef juice. And she make the beef like strips. Then she put peppers in it. And it got a nice bold taste, but it's not salty. You could taste the meat and the flavor of the peppers. You put that over rice. Sometimes it was so good, I just ate it by itself. That's how good it was. I just ate it by itself. Sometimes I get a bowl if I could. if I could get away with it, I get a bowl of that just by itself and just eat that by itself, man. But then sometimes I put it over rice because it was real good like that too. You know what I'm saying? And she always knew I liked it. She was like, yeah, I brought some more pepper steak because I know you like it. Because you know, if you cook, you gonna see who really enjoy it. Man, I used to love it, man. I was like, man, it's good. Yeah, you know. So, you know, you always know somebody who really love your food, man. So like, yeah, my aunt, she used to make that pepper steak. Now my other aunt, she used to make the best spaghetti. Her spaghetti was better than my mom's, my grandma. Nobody made spaghetti. See, everybody mastered the dish. My aunt, my other aunt made spaghetti where she preserved the juice, back to the juice. She would have the beef grease, some of it in the spaghetti. So it gave it like this authentic meat taste. And she would make these big military pots of spaghetti when we come over. Because she know we're going to be over there for like 2 or 3 days. What she would do when she was entertaining us was make a big military pot of spaghetti. I'm pretty sure it was, or it was like a military pot, because we ate it all week, the whole weekend. We kept going back for it. Man, it was so good, man. She would make sure it was sauce in it. It wasn't dried out spaghetti. The worst thing you can do is make a big pot of dried out spaghetti. There's no sauce on it. There's no meat sauce. There's nothing there. There's no grease from the meat. That's the worst mistake you can make cooking spaghetti. It's dried out. So, you know, you got to make more than enough sauce so that when you cook it, when you heat it up again, it still got sauce on it. So you got to put more than enough. You can't just put just enough to wet it. You got to put more than enough so when it's warmed up, whether it's in the microwave or by the pot, it's still enough sauce on it when you heat it up, when you go back for it. So it's still in my mind vividly, man. It's in my mind, bro. Her spaghetti was so good. Like, you could see the grease from the meat sitting on the top of it. You don't even find people that master spaghetti like that, man. It was so good, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. It was so good. She mastered spaghetti, man. Like, so that's the South for you right there. You know, you know, it's just understanding, man, like, when you go out in public and you eat that fast food, it's not even what's in it. It's the portions for me. It can't be, you know, people say stuff in it. I'm not hung up on that. I'm hung up on more the portions. You're not getting enough vitamins. You're not getting, you have to have like 3 or 4 of those sandwiches. The average sandwich, you probably need like 3 or 4 of those as a man. You'll be happy. But you don't want to be, listen, you don't want to be ashamed to eat 3 sandwiches, do you? See, it's like a pressure not to eat like that. But the truth is, you really want like 3 of those sandwiches, but you ain't willing to pay for it. That's another thing too. Once after the 90s, most people ain't willing to pay for like the combo and individual sandwiches or 3 sandwiches in the fries. Only big people will eat like that. They'll go in there and get like 3 sandwiches and fries. They ain't got no shame in it, because you ain't gonna get full. But most people that don't eat big portions, they gonna go in there and get the combo. How you gonna get full off that? We say get full. How you gonna get full off that? So for me, I had graduated before I stopped eating fast food. Where when I send my woman to the fast food store, like Burger King, I told her to give me 2 sandwiches. Man, I ate way better. I felt way better. I was like, man, yeah, give me 2 of those. I wasn't fat or nothing. I'm just I eat like a man. I told her to give me 2 sandwiches. Man, don't you know how much better quality of a meal that was? I ain't tell her give me no combo. I say, give me the combo and give me another sandwich with it. I literally start eating like this. And every time I ate like that, them chicken sandwiches from Burger King, them things are good, right? But you can eat more than one if you're being real. On the average situation, you can eat more than one, right? So you eat one, it's like, I can eat another one. Dig into another one, you're going to feel way better. You're going to feel better. Like, man, I feel better since I ate like two. Eat the fries, you might leave the fries. But if you eat two sandwiches in the fries, a large fry, a man is going to be satisfied. You eat two chicken sandwiches. You eat two chicken sandwiches. And the fries with the drink, you're going to feel way better. Think about it. You're not satisfied as a man if you go eat one sandwich and fries. You still looking some type of way. Look how many days and years we've been like that. Even when you had the bread, you still didn't do it. You had the money, you could have done it, but you didn't. Because we conditioned the thing like that. The luxury is once I get a little bread, I'm going to give me like two of them sandwiches. But we never did that as a whole community. Crazy, right? Think about how many times, especially working men, you had a lot of bread, which is the average man. You had at least $300, $400 to splurge. You still went to McDonald's and got one sandwich. Can you answer why you did that? You can't, can you? That's crazy, right? It make you feel crazy, right? It's like regret. It's like a type of regret with it, ain't it? Especially as a man. It's like a type of regret. Man, he's right. Why over the years, I didn't get like 3 Whoppers just to see how I feel. Why didn't get like 2 Whoppers? And the Jedi mind trick is the double Whopper. Nah, that's not the same thing, bro. You got to get the bread, everything. You got to have all of that. You get like 2 of those, you get 2 Whoppers, you're going to be better. You get 2 Whoppers and the fries and the drink. Now that's how a man's supposed to eat. At minimum, you're supposed to have like two sandwiches and fries. In any fast food, you should have 2 sandwiches and fries. I guarantee you're going to feel better. But the funny thing is, look how many times you had money and you didn't do it. That's crazy. That's the power of psychology, man. If they condition you to a certain portion where you didn't even break the portion when you got the money. They condition you to a certain portion, and then when you got the money, you don't even break the portion amount that they gave you. That's why a lot of times you walked around, you feel okay, but you would have felt better. You would have felt better. You would have felt better if you had like 2, 3 sandwiches. You would have felt way better. See what I'm saying? See, I had graduated that. Like I said, I broke out the matrix of the fast food portions, right? I started getting me like 2 sandwiches, man. I felt way better. Like I ate 2 sandwiches or a sandwich and a half, depending on how I felt that day or what I ate before that meal, right? But on a good day where I ain't really got nothing in my stomach, I eat like 2 sandwiches, fries, and a drink, the big drink. That's it. That's all I need. See, you could tell the power of psychology when I know plenty of times you and I that had the money, but we didn't do it. That's crazy, right? You had the money to get an extra sandwich, but you didn't. Because your Jedi mind trick, like, this is the meal. This is the portion I'm supposed to have in the meal. But it's like, okay, why can't I got enough money to add another sandwich today? I'm going to add me another sandwich. You didn't even think about it, did you? You should feel a little bit regret. All them times you had bread, no pun intended, and you just got 1 sandwich. And you could have got like 2 or 3 and just really ate till your heart was content. That's how a man's supposed to eat till your heart is content, man. You know, that's why everybody going through right now. You ain't eating till your heart is content. No, man. We eating little portions of this, little portion, and then you trying to save it for the end of the month. If you're on the food stamps like I am, you can't really even afford to really eat. No, not really. You slow yourself down a little bit. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't eat that like twice. Maybe I should wait. You gonna wait, right? Wait for a couple hours or something. I guess that's a justification. Time that went by, I'm just eating along the way. I'm just eating along the way. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to eat along the way, don't I? But, yeah, we're not really eating like we supposed to, man. The portions is the thing for me. Like I said, that's the portions is the thing. Man, I could actually say, man, as a man, I've taken. You got to do this in your life. This got to be your bucket list. This is a bucket list thing. I've done it already. You got to take a whole pack of meat, like the standard little pack, the ground turkey or the ground beef. You got to take a whole pack of meat and make one burger. People think it's disgusting. No, it's not. It's a man. You being a man. I got around cooking around in the. I grew up. Now I'm a whole man. I'm like, hold up, man. I'm taking me a whole pack and make me a burger. I took a whole pack of meat and made a burger. See how you be conditioned not to do that for whatever reason, and you could have planned. You could have been done that. Why you ain't do it? I ain't talking about fried now. I ain't talking about cooking on top of the stove in a skillet. You gotta bake it in the oven, like a meatloaf. That's the closest thing to tell you. Like you cook it like meatloaf, but it's a huge big burger. It's gonna be juicy. Everything, flavor it down good. Flavor your meat good. Put onions in it, and then toast your bread because your bread gonna get soggy with that big meat, juicy meat. In order to eat real huge sandwiches, you gotta toast the bread so that when the juice and the stuff, all the stuff come out the sandwich, the cheese, the lettuce, tomato, that's gonna give you soggy bread. Amateur gonna still do it. You got a big old sandwich, you put in that little piece, it's gonna get soggy. So you gotta toast your bread so that it holds up. The bread holds up, right? So I got to this level of cooking. So I made like a one pack of turkey meat. I took and made a whole one big burger, bro. This was last year. I did this last year. One big burger, right? I took one big burger, put it in the oven. It worked out perfectly. I had like 4 slices of bread. Yeah, I did like 4 slices of bread. Really, I should have did like it should have been like 8. Really, it should have been like 8 slices. Cause you put 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top. I don't think I did that. I think I put like 2 on the, but you know how it's gonna have some burger hanging out the sides. I just ate that all off. I put 4 slices of bread on it. I ate the whole thing. Look, I didn't save it. So you gotta stop trying to save stuff. Look, I ate the whole thing. You know how good I felt. It's a masculine thing. I'm no lie. I ain't saving it. I ate the whole thing, bro. I felt so good. I ain't even feel bad. I ain't feel bad about it at all. I'm like, man, I went to the next level. Because it ain't going to be fattening if you put it in the oven. I felt so much better. Man, I was cooking like that. Whole chickens, them things good too. Eat a whole chicken, the whole thing. Put some potatoes in it. Inside the chicken, the little whole chickens. That's what I was eating too, man. Oh, man. Put them in the oven. That's what I was eating too. But I cooked my girl lobster. I was cooking her lobster. She was spoiled. I was cooking her lobster. How you cook lobster is just for 12 minutes. You put the stove on high. You turn the high. And this is the only time you turn the stove up on high, totally on high. Get it all the way up. Make sure the water is bubbling. Then you drop the lobster for like 12 minutes. That's you can't cook it no longer than 12 minutes. It's gonna be tough. But what I would do is cook it for like 10 minutes, and then that extra 2 minutes is gonna cook it to perfection because it's still gonna be hot, and then it'll be more juicy. But technically, you're supposed to cook it for like 12 minutes. I cook oysters, fried oysters, lobster, country fried steak. Oh man, I ain't even eat it and it looked good. I act like I ate it. Because I don't eat beef. I haven't eaten beef in years. I don't eat beef. I don't eat pork. So you ain't gonna never see me eat a piece of beef or a piece of pork. But I cook. I'm not crazy and psycho like some people are, where I can't cook beef for other people. I can't cook pork for other people. Because I grew up on it, so I know what it tastes like. So I cook pork chops for my woman. I cook her pork chops and fried pork chops. I used to cook for her the whole time I was there. She loved my cooking. She's like, you gonna cook? She always asks me, you gonna cook? Like, you know, she love it. What, you gonna cook? Like, I cook her like country fried steak. Some people ain't never ate country fried steak. Put the flour on it, man. Psh, the juice come out, connect with the crust. Man. So I was cooking her country fried steak. I cook her like 5 country fried steaks, no lie. So cause she liked to just go back for it. So she was like, cook me 5 steaks. So I ain't shy to handling meat. Wash that meat down, everything. Make that meat right. Get that meat fresh. I always wash my meat. You know what I'm saying? Chicken, anything I cook, I'm gonna wash. I can't just throw meat in. Nah. It's done been in slime in the bag and all whatever. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wash that meat before I cook it. Before I flour it down, I'm gonna wash it. Wash it real good. Make sure I wash it. Preferably with cold water, so it's still good temperature. Ain't no, especially if I ain't cooking it all at once, I'm cooking, put that cold water on it. So by the time I cook all of it, it still be, pretty decent temperature. And I used to cook fried chicken and put honey on it. Boy, fried chicken and drizzle it in the honey all around on the drumsticks, drizzle it with honey, put chicken on honey. That's how I was cooking for her, man. Drizzle chicken on honey, drizzle honey. Some things like, man, we go buy this from a store and it's like $20 for fried chicken with honey on it. You're gonna pay like $15 for a box just because they added honey. You go home, you got honey, and you don't even put it together. That's how we're conditioned. But we'll go buy the same thing for more somewhere else. But when we're home, we don't put these expensive items together. Like, for example, like Parmesan on French fries, right? If you put Parmesan on fries, you go buy that from the store, that's $8 for a large fry with Parmesan. They just sprinkle Parmesan, it's like $8. And I expect to spend that because it's Parmesan. I'll let them get away with that. But you can go home and have Parmesan in the house and cook fries and you just put salt and pepper on it. I started jazzing up my fries and everything. Once I got my own place and lived on my own, I was putting Parmesan on my fries. Yeah, treat yourself like they treat you at the restaurant. I put some onions in my fries. See, that's how I like to cook my fries. I put fried onions with the fries. That's delicious. Fries and onions. See, no fast food ever did that. Fries with onions. It's delicious, man. I put Parmesan on that too. Fries and onions and Parmesan. With a burger, man. Parmesan only gonna make it taste so much better, man. That's why, I don't know, man. See, me being from the South, we just think about stuff. We improvise. That's facts. But yeah, man. The portions, if you do anything, if you don't get anything from what I say about the food part, the portions is what you gotta do. You gotta get these portions, bigger portions. It's kind of hard to get back on the subject of what I was talking about, but you see how we get back to reality. See, this is how really I am. You see, this is me as a person. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, see, I gotta reintroduce myself because people will sit back and say whatever they say, and you gotta reintroduce yourself to people. So they know who you are. So this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, bro, like, I keep life simple, man. Like Tupac said, I'm a simple man. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a simple-minded man. It's just that I can live off the simple things in life, and I can enjoy the simple things in life, which is just me and another woman and plenty good food and maybe some entertainment and some wine, and bam, that's it for me. Unlimited, good amount of wine. We could drink a bottle anytime we want. That type of situation. Not begging for a bottle. Not begging for a bottle. You know, we got a whole bunch of bottles of wine. We could drink anytime we want. That's living to me. Just the wine part. You got like 8, 9, 10 bottles. You ain't got to go to the store. You know you can get as tipsy as you want to get, and you can eat good, party. You know what I'm saying? You know, listen to some good music. See me, I can make my own music, make my own funk, make my own funk. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause it's a good combination to have the wine and the food and the music and everything like that. See, that's simple life. That's all I want. Like, maybe I can find me a good fishing spot, fish real good. Man, that's living. My ideal situation would almost be like living in a wooded area where it's water, and I got a nice little cabin like house, and I can go out and fish, eat fresh fish, connected to nature, you know, everything. And that's like ideal for me. I always envision that, man. You know, how I would be just happy with me, a wife, me and her. I can go fishing when I want to. We cook meals together. We pamper each other. You know what I'm saying? Each other. Like I said, I cook for my wife. You know what I'm saying? My last wife I was with, I ain't asked her to go cook, and I don't even remember if she ever cooked me. I'm being honest with you. The past 2 women I've been with that I consider my wife, I can count on both hands how many times they really cook for me. I cook for my other wife. I cook for her all. She never cooked one meal. I'm that type of dude. But you might see my strong personality and think I want a woman to bow down to me and all of that. And I don't like that kind of personality. I don't like that. I like a woman to be herself, stand up and be intellectual and speak her mind and speak. Because a woman gonna do that naturally anyway. All you gotta make sure you don't make her suppress it. A woman gonna naturally speak her mind and speak how she feel. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta feed that. You gotta cultivate it. That's the word I want to look for. You gotta cultivate it. You know, but yeah, cook for my wife, everything like that. But I just been through a lot with even my wives being gang stalked. That's a good way to come back in on what we talk about. You know, my wives were gang stalked. The last 2 women I was with were gang stalked. I was gang stalked while I was with them. And they'll put you and pit you against that person and that person against you. They'll work witchcraft against your relationships. And see, that's what I find most offensive. You know what I'm saying? If you think imagine somebody working witchcraft against your relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the ultimate level of being a hater, bro. Like, I don't got no love for it. I don't got no love for somebody to do that. And the thing is, you know, people knew that I was with a woman, and then they come out here to Brooklyn talking about, I just told you I was cooking for my woman and everything. This is a grown woman, man. Imagine that I see me respecting somebody that's talking about I'm gay, but you just know I left a woman and I'm cooking and living with a woman. You can't respect somebody like that, man. I play the position as a man, living with my woman, living with my woman, right? Cooking for her, pampering her, everything. She loving it, happy. She ain't never said my food was too salty or too sweet or something funny. She ain't really like honey on chicken. She ain't really, so I ain't cooked that too much. But she ain't really like that. But that wasn't a matter of my seasoning or whatever. She just didn't like it. You know. But when everything is right, man, I pamper my woman. That's just what kind of man I am. You know. So just imagine you playing that position, and then somebody come in and they doing witchcraft on your relationships because they jealous or whatever, or they want you to be gay. You know what I'm saying? You might have had an experience, but you're not gay in your psychology. See, the psychology is what make you gay. You look at a man and you find him attractive. I don't. I can acknowledge that a man is attractive without me finding it attractive. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, I love women. I like the smell of a woman. I'm just putting it how it is. Most men gonna say, I like the smell, the essence of a woman. That's how you know you like a woman. You like how a woman smell. You know what I'm saying? That's just real though. I'm just keeping 100. I don't know no man, a real man that can't say he don't like the smell of a woman. I would say that's almost like God made us like that. Because if you notice a dog, a male dog gonna sniff around a woman dog's butt. It like the smell of the woman, of the female dog. You know what I'm saying? So how wouldn't God make me where I like the smell of a woman? I think it's natural. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm just saying, if I wanted anal sex, I just go with a woman. She got both. If I was into that, I just go with a woman. She got both. Now, I mean, is that not good logic? For me. For me, it's good logic. I go with a woman if I want that, but you know, life is full of experiences, and I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not condoning anything, but a wise man would tell you that in life you will experience many things, but that doesn't mean it defines what you experience. You lived. Some people lived without looking at the context of sin and non-sin and righteousness, right? Some people live a full life, and that's how you put it. They experienced everything. They thought like that to experience everything. It doesn't mean I gotta keep everything I experience. You know what I'm saying? You know, but some people are just more open to experimenting than others. You know, and but I don't think that has to define you. I think I'm one of the only people in the country that broke that mold where that had to define me. And I would just challenge you to look at people like Richard Pryor, because I think people didn't realize that Richard Pryor was gay, bisexual. And if I had to sell you on one person that I know all these black people like, that was bisexual, that you would consider gay or a fag, or however you want to put it, I would sell you on Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was openly bisexual. And we didn't know that growing up. Most old school didn't know that. You thought that was a man's man. And see, Richard Pryor had that flavor that, and I'm not saying he had that flavor that some men are attracted to. That extra flair. You know what I'm saying? I got that too. That's why like a lot of guys have been attracted to me. But because you got that extra flair. Richard Pryor had like that extra flair that if you was gay, it was gonna come out. If you like men, or here's where it gets tricky. You might not like all gay men, but you like him. You might just like that type of man. You find some people like that. I don't like all gay men, but I like that guy right there. You know, what do you say? See, that's why, like me, I'm not a simple-minded person. I'm not simple-minded. You know what I'm saying? You can't say in a cookie-cutter fashion, this is why this person's gay. You can't say what it is. You can't say why these people together. I never try to define it. People try to define it to me, so to speak. You know, but I can't define why you with this person, because some people go through different things. Like for example, some people get molested when they was kids, right? And then if you have been, like, I was sexualized when I was 9 years old. I was like between 9 or 10 when I lost my virginity to my older cousin. So when men hear my story, they say, okay, I give a pass to that, because you got turned out when you was a kid. And just like a girl, this is going to be kind of, women going to understand. You have a yearning in that area of your body. Once you get penetrated, now you got this yearning, right? Even if you're straight. So I can remember as a kid, just like a girl that's been turned out, humping on the arms of couches, like the arm of a couch, like putting your legs between it and humping on it just so you can feel some pressure in that area where now you've been penetrated. See, girls can relate to that. That once they get sexualized, they hump couches and they play with objects, putting objects in their butt or their body, because you're going to experiment that you lost your virginity to that area. So then, throughout the years, you experiment with your anal area because you got turned out when you was a kid, right? So then imagine the curiosity when the stars align and you meet somebody, and then they make you feel like, I would like to see how it would all feel. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's what happens to some people. That's people that get turned out, molested, right? Or sexualized, however you want to put it. So for me, that's what it was. So that was always part of my story. So if you think I shamed myself or you think I messed up my legacy, well, let me explain to you that was always part of my story, because even before it happened, because I got sexualized when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So some people in a Jedi mind trick way or in a tricky way would feel like, well, it was always part of me anyway. It was always part of me because of what I experienced when I was a kid. So, I was sexualized when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So I think that's why my generation could live with past the stigma of just having to look a certain way, act a certain way, and be a certain way. I think we was one of those first generation to break out of these certain stereotypes of gay people and how they became gay. Me, like I said, my older cousin, he just stepped to me. I don't remember how he asked me. I don't even remember how that happened. But all I know is he told me what to do, and I did it. He went and got Vaseline. He did the whole thing. He made me bend over. That's how I was going. I was doing it all. I was only like 9 or 10 at max. And after that, like I said, it was a yearning that a girl can relate to. A girl would tell you once she had sex, now she using objects, putting objects inside her body, like dildos, toothbrushes, candles. Girls put candles in their vaginas, all kind of stuff like that. They ain't gonna tell you, but they do. When their parents leave, they gonna use candles on their vaginas and things like that. Boys who get penetrated when they're young, they do the same thing. They use objects, all different types of objects to act out. You know what I'm saying? So real people can relate. You know what I'm saying? Even a straight man can say, I did do those things, even though I didn't decide to go back into it like you did. But they ain't gonna tell you. It's their dirty little secret. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of guys that got turned out, but he just, for whatever reason, he stayed straight, but he got turned out. So throughout his years before he got in a relationship, he was doing little stuff, putting candles in his butt, everything. I know that. Humping on chairs, all that kind of stuff. Because it's like you lost your virginity to that area. And that's what a straight man wouldn't understand. That a man can make that feel good and not painful. And to where now you got a yearning in that area, just like a woman would. A woman can relate. That's why a lot of gay dudes hang around women. A woman can relate. Even to the anal sex. She can relate to it. She gonna say, oh, it feel good. I can see why he like it. But you, as a man, wouldn't see that. But a woman gonna have this kind of connection with a gay dude to say, I understand why you like. Of course, she gonna understand why he like being penetrated. She gonna understand it. A man ain't gonna never understand that if he ain't got no experiences. But see, I'm a man that do. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to sell you on somebody that you embraced as a whole black community that you didn't realize, I would also say Luther Vandross, right here from New York. Luther Vandross was obviously gay. And he might have messed around. I figure he probably messed around with a real beautiful, cute woman every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Just mess around. You know what I'm saying? See, when they famous, they gonna find some cute little woman. Even a gay dude. And they gonna mess around like girls. Like lesbians, basically. We both like penis, but we mess around a little bit. So you'll find even how it gets tricky even there, where basically, you know, a man and a woman might have the same preference for penis, but you know, we'll mess. You find a guy that's like a lesbian. He mess around with girls. But he's not bisexual. You see how it gets tricky? He's not bisexual. So Luther Vandross is another one that a lot of black men do not accept that he was gay. And now you know, because why you didn't see no women with Luther? Come on, his voice alone. We all know what I'm talking about. Luther Vandross, the closest thing to Luther Vandross was Freddie Jackson. Freddie Jackson was the closest thing to Luther that gave, it was any kind of competition for Luther Vandross. Other than that, Luther had no competition. Luther Vandross could have any woman he wanted. This is how you know in the superstar lane, when you see somebody that successful and that talented, that's women just will be with a man just for that. That's a whole world in itself. That's how a woman is wired. You know, if you like that, man, it don't matter what weight Luther Vandross ever was, he could get any woman he want, man. They wouldn't care. Most women would not care, bro. Because who all he is gonna embody his beauty and how you see him. His talent is going to embody his beauty, if that makes sense. You know, it's going to be part of his beauty. So, with that being said, you ain't see no women Luther had. Put two and two together. You know, but people said they knew Luther Vandross was gay. You know what I'm saying? Richard Pryor was gay. Definitely. He had a white boyfriend. You know, he was bisexual. And we all liked Richard Pryor. We felt he had the funk, what we call the funk, you know what I'm saying? The blackness, you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say the funk, the blackness. You know what I'm saying? He had the blackness that nobody could deny, you know. Starting from Car Wash, everybody watched Car Wash. When he was the reverend, when he was the pimpish kind of preacher, perfect image for how he was, you know. That's when everybody kind of just gravitated towards Richard Pryor, you know. And then all the other stuff he did, the chicken, I forgot what's the name of that movie, the chicken something. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. But it was crazy. That was crazy. But everybody liked Richard Pryor as a person. I don't think nobody say, oh, I ain't like Richard Pryor. He just was, how can I describe it? He was original. And he had the funk, he had the blackness, you know what I'm saying? He nailed it, like, which means he could fit into any black family with his kind of persona, his energy, his reasoning. He was one of them type of dudes that could connect. He could connect to any black person, any black family. He could connect to it, right? So that's how you know the person is at the top. Same thing, George Jefferson. You know, Herman Sherman, you know, Herman Shanley, right? So Herman Shanley, which is George Jefferson's real name, he was gay, and he had the funk, how he carried himself, his charisma and flair. You know, he could connect to any black person. He could connect to any black people, and that's why dudes was attracted to him. You know what I'm saying? It's true. Some people can act on it, some people don't. Some people let people act on it, and some people do. So when I understand different dynamics that people might not understand, like Richard Pryor and George Jefferson. Those two. You see how they similar, but you can't put your finger on it. But what it is their flair, their charisma, their flair, their blackness is attractive to, and you either let it go overboard, and some people act on it and go a little overboard. So think about when he was getting high and drinking with all these cool dudes, you know, some people just went a little further because they got so much love for this person. You know, that's what it was. Think about it. You looking at this dude, you tipsy, he got flair, he got flavor, you either gonna consider him a homie and just say, I love you, man, I love you, or be like that. Or you take it to another extreme. So most men just gonna be like, that's my homie, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Laughing, got you laughing. Think about it, he got a sense of humor. Can you imagine getting drunk with him? Like, so you know, could you imagine getting drunk with Richard Pryor? Crazy, man. So you know, man, it's not that I condone it, I understand. See, everything you understand, you ain't gotta condone. You know what I'm saying? I don't condone it, but I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you become a parent, you don't condone everything your kids do, especially when they get older. But you understand. You try to understand, right? Okay, so with Richard Pryor, that'd be a perfect example of somebody I know black people accepted. I know you accepted him. So for black men, this is my punchline. For black men, I know you accepted Richard Pryor. I know you accepted him. Okay? That's a person that was gay that you entertained, that you had love for, that you didn't realize. Okay, so we got to come back to the drawing board. We got to come back to the drawing board for you to acknowledge that you did have love for some gay people. You didn't realize it. Like George Jefferson, Sherman Hemsley, and Richard Pryor. You had love for them. You had genuine love for them. You sat down and listened to them. They made you laugh. George Jefferson made you laugh over the years. You know, you loved them. Everybody did. So you entertained a gay spirit unaware if whether you accept it or not. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's the coolest black dudes, the homies, everything. You don't sit down and listen, watch George Jefferson. So you watch the gay spirit. That you gotta accept that. You should know us as black people. How you ain't gonna have no cool black gay people? Where where he knows what to be without being like the average gay person that's just overboard. This person don't wear it on their sleeve. In other words, this person almost, his flair and persona is separate from his sexuality. That's how you need to hear it. It's some people that their persona and personality and flair is separate from their sexual orientation. And it's some people that ain't that good to do that. So like your persona and your flair is mixed with your sexual orientation. Richard Pryor, you couldn't tell. You could not tell. Because his sexual orientation, he was cool to where he elevated, and some people never make it to that place where your persona, your charisma, and your personality does not it's not mixed with your sexual orientation. Like Richard Pryor is the perfect example. You couldn't tell he was gay. So obviously his sexual orientation was separate from his flair, his persona, and everything. So see, you got them type of people. You know what I'm saying? And you should know with black people, it's gonna be some type of dude that, okay, his sexual orientation is this, but look at his persona, his personality. It ain't got nothing to do with his sexual orientation. It does. You can't find it. You can't. It ain't reflected in his flair and everything like that, right? So like you got them type of guys, you know, and that's like George Jefferson. You got Luther. I wouldn't even say Luther Vandross. You couldn't really. Luther just seemed like a cool, big dude that, you know, like an uncle that you would love and got love for, that you would be cool with and show love with. You know, some people say smoke a little reefer with, but you know, You know, but you really couldn't really tell. I mean, you know, not really. You couldn't really tell with Luther really either. Not really. If I told you, you would think about it. But if I didn't, you would just say, that's just who he is. Like, you know, he's just his personality. And then he's doing the singing the songs and everything. So then you kind of line him up like this cool, loving, you know, singer, R&B singer. So, you know, it's not that I don't understand the matrix of all these different things in sexuality. You know, it's that I please God, and that's the difference. See, I see, for people that act like I lack understanding, like it ain't been going on. You know, they even said King James that wrote the Bible was gay. That's what I heard. They even, I mean, well, you know, he interpreted it. It's the King James version. So I think people said King James was gay. I mean, so I heard most things that most people hear in history, you know. Michael Jackson, do I think Michael Jackson was gay? I think Michael Jackson got sexualized when he was a kid by one of his brothers, probably. Or a cousin, or somebody that we didn't really know was in the picture. It might have been somebody we didn't really know was in the picture, that was in his life that we wouldn't know about. I think one of them, and which would be perfect to have done that, would have been one of them little cousins or something. Because you know he had family. Okay, so you don't think he had no family besides his brothers? So them probably was the kids that probably sexualized Michael, the kids we don't know nothing about. And the reason why I believe Michael, something happened to him, is because he just wasn't aggressive enough towards women. And that's one of the first signs that you've been sexualized. Because you're confused in your sexuality. You're confused in your sexuality. If you really been with a boy, and you might not think you're confused in your sexuality, but the way you know is you're just not pursuing of a woman. You're not. It's not that you're not attracted to him. You're not aggressive enough towards him that you should be. And the reason why is because something happened to you when you was young. So with Michael Jackson, because he wasn't aggressive towards women, and he was another one that had all this fame and everything. How in the world he ain't find no woman? All them beautiful women dancing around, break dancing and all kind of dancing. You tell me you ain't find one of the women out of that? You ain't find a woman out of that. That was one of the most tragic situations I feel. Michael, besides sexual orientation, he never really had love. Like from a companion, a real love. You know, he didn't really have that. You know, and so and with his fame, it's hard for me to believe that he just couldn't find no woman that he was attracted to. I just can't believe that. I believe he was confused in his sexuality. Do I think he liked children? No. I think being that Michael was an original person, he had an original personality, I think you don't have a reference point for people like that. So you can't reference to someone else to figure him out. He is who he is. So you can't say, well, we wouldn't do this, because this person is so powerful as a talent, how his mind thinks, he's not going to think like any of us. And that's how you got to look at it. So when it came down to the children sleeping in the same bed, I wouldn't do it. Because if not for any other reason, you could wake up with an erection. I'm just being real. Or find yourself kind of gravitating towards a child in the bed with an erection, which is a worse nightmare. So, you know, that's for healthy men, you know. I wouldn't have done it to share my bed with a child. No, I'll let you make a pallet on the floor. Like black people say from the ghetto, you can make a pallet. You sleep over somebody's house, what you gonna do? In most cases, you're going to make a pallet. They got a bed, but you're going to make a pallet, buddy. Black people, how you know black people don't think like that? Because how many times you been over somebody's house and they had beds, but you slept on a pallet? Which, if you don't know what a pallet is, if you white, you might not know. A pallet, from the South, we call that a pallet in the South. A pallet is putting sheets down on the floor and sleeping on the floor with sheets. That's a pallet. We call that a pallet. Call it a pallet. Okay. So that's how we think as a culture. We don't let kids sleep in our beds. It's just because we sexual people ourselves, and we just ain't gonna be in the bed with no kids and not be in the bed with our companion. No, the kids sleep on the pallet on the floor, in the other room, or out in the front room. We keep an eye on them. Might go out there and see where they at, whatever. See how things going. That's how most black people are. I think Michael had this magical perspective towards children, especially being into the music business and everything. And he just had these ideals that he created that was beautiful to him, like a child sleeping in his bed, like this magical, for lack of a better reference, like a Willy Wonka, without insulting, without saying he's that eccentric to an extreme. He's not that eccentric, but close to it. And so that kind of person has these magical ideas of how things should go and how things should be. And I think that's what it was. I don't think he was sexual towards children at all. I don't think so. Prince. Do I think Prince was gay? I think Prince had sexual experiences with his sister. That he took to the grave. I think him and his sister sexually experimented. I think that happened. That's something that crossed my mind, and we would never know. And once again, you don't know the other family members they had. And so I think that Prince probably experienced some things too as a kid, and because people that have been through it can tell, telltale signs. Certain things, kind of withdrawn, kind of less aggressive that most men would be. Those are kind of the signs, I think something happened to Prince when he was young. I think he might have acted out with his sister or older girl. If it wasn't his sister, and I wouldn't accuse somebody of that if that didn't happen. And it ain't in the sense of being a pedophile. It's experiences. That's how I look at it. Look at it like I'm not accusing her. I'm talking about an experience that they may have had. Because that wouldn't make her a pedophile if that happened. Because kids gonna act out sexually with their family first. That's what's gonna happen. In a perfect world, that wouldn't happen. In a perfect world, that wouldn't happen, but we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a real world, with human beings, flawed and evil, and human. Just human, outside of being evil, just experimenting the world. And if you're a young child, you're new to the world. How you gonna know what to do? And you're gonna start feeling these feelings, and then when you come up in American culture, you're gonna act out what you see on TV. So the culture of sex and everything we grew up on, that's going to provoke experiments with other children, because how you going to experiment with anybody else? You're going to experiment with who's around you, which in the case of a child is going to be your family. That's why we know people did it, especially here in American culture, because we had a sexually charged culture that made children think about sex. That's what the first thing you got to realize about the psychology of this country. We had movies, pornos, magazines, and kids were exposed to things as children. Okay, so what's the next step? You're going to act out on what you saw. And that's what many kids did. Okay? And who they did it with? Those who were convenient to them in their lives, which are your family. And that's going to be normal in American culture. I hate to tell you. So that's what I know is true. I know too many people have done that. And so I think that happened with Prince. I think that happened with Michael Jackson. With Prince, one thing I would say about Prince is that he sexualized his wife before she was an adult. That's something that most Prince fans won't talk about, but we know that he met his wife when she was 16, but he waited until she was 19 to marry her. But at the same time, you sexualized her when she was 16. You looked at her like a woman. He said he looked into the crowd and seen his wife. Now, I can see how you think at face value, the image of her face is acceptable to you as for your wife. But once you found out she was 16, most men would have just walked away. You wouldn't have thought, oh, well, let me save her for, let's stay together to, you probably would have treated her like a little sister and just dismissed the whole thought of her being your wife. But Prince didn't do that. He seen her as young as 16, and he kept her around dancing and doing things and music. And so, but see, that's a perfect example of how this natural system of getting to of connecting with other human beings before we made this synthetic sterile system excluding natural ways that it actually happened, whether we liked it or not. We got this sterile position by white America, and they're just hypocrites. But we got this sterile system, this standard that everybody's held by, but we got this whole other history beyond this sterile system that they present to us. To where, some men seen girls in the old school, they waited for them. They waited for girls. In our community, in the black community, they waited for females to grow up with the idea of being with these girls. And if you go back, you'll see girls with grown men. And that's how it was before we made this unrealistic, sterile standard that no one has ever lived by perfectly as a community, not even the Americans. They didn't live by this sterile standard that they're trying to present to us now. They never lived by it in perfection, to where you would define Americans by the standard that they have right now. The standard that they have right now has never been real. How we know? Because they've been marrying children the whole time. They've been marrying children the whole time. So there was never no sterile standard of love, of not being with children. They were doing it the whole time. That's what I'm trying to show you. So besides this sterile position that the white Americans try to show you, it was never real. It was a front to the community. Meanwhile, they was marrying children the whole time. That's the real world we know, that we would think about, because we knew our life and the things we did in our own personal life and the stories we heard and the other things we heard from other people. That makes more sense to real life here in America. But they presented a double standard that they held us to as Americans, and this is where you should get mad. They held you to a different standard, a sterile standard, where it's not even human, it's synthetic and it's sterile concerning sexuality. But at the same time, simultaneously, they was having sex like natural other humans around the world the whole time. But they held you to this, and I really believe this. I believe the culture influenced people to think like this, where with all these cop shows and all these go get 'em kind of guys, it made people think they was the A-team for children. Why you think I'm saying that as a joke? It made people think they were G.I. Joe for children. And so some people started to live up to this image, but some people didn't. Better to say, while us as the community were closer to this image of living like G.I. Joe for children and everything like that, you didn't know your government was marrying children. So we came closer to the standard that America tried to make us live to, of being pure towards children. But they judged us according to another standard that they was living than themselves, even though we came closer to living the way they projected themselves to live. They made all these movies, they made all this stuff. The community was getting all the movies. So we lived closer to it. The people that was getting all these images of being like the 18 for children and protected children, we was getting a whole nother standard while they was living a whole nother standard. That's why I don't take nothing off no authority specifically. Then I have to explain to the community that, listen, buddy, listen, you might have been honorable, you may have been honorable, but your country wasn't, which means you have to sit down because you're in a whole nation that has sex with children. You can't rise up against nobody, buddy. And it don't matter. See, this is where smart people realize it don't matter that you're pure towards children. That's not what gives you the right to rise up. What gives you the right to rise up against somebody you don't know is that this is a contradiction, not to you, but to the laws of the land of your country. Because ultimately this goes into prosecution and arresting someone or incriminating someone, right? So then when you want to incriminate, your country is marrying children, you can't incriminate me to the community. You can't incriminate no man to the community. You see what I'm saying? This is how it connects to this, in case you didn't know. When you accuse somebody of something, you can't act like it's just street justice. You have to hold in mind what your country does. I can't incriminate this man over here, and my country is marrying children. My country, all out here. New York was doing it. New York was marrying children. So imagine me coming out as New Yorkers, completely stupid, didn't know about this. You didn't know. Wu-Tang Clan didn't know, did they? Wu-Tang Clan say they are for the children, right? I gotta say this. Wu-Tang has a saying, Wu-Tang is for the kids. And I know that came from ODB because I know the history, right? Okay, so ODB said that famously first. But then it became a slogan in a worldview, almost in a perspective of Wu-Tang Clan. But Wu-Tang Clan didn't say nothing about child marriage laws in America. They didn't say nothing about the age of consent at 17 in the United States, in New York. New York had the age of consent at 17. It's still that right now. Wu-Tang, with a label on them, they for the kids, they should have said something. Even if they didn't try to create that, you would think that, okay, I can kind of live into it. Does that make sense? To where I'm about that, where I'm for the kids per se, where I start looking around and seeing the laws in my own city. Because after all, we got a slogan that said we for the kids. Okay, so I'm going to look around. I'm going to kind of live into it a little more. You know what I mean? That's the average person. But Wu-Tang never said nothing about New York having child marriage. Through the 90s, they had child marriage in New York City, everywhere. And they didn't say nothing about the age of consent at 17 years old. So see, if I don't show you these things, you will have these sterile images of even people, groups, and everything, but they're not addressing the elephant in the room. The real America. The real America marries children. So then everything else falls down. Even who we incriminate. To me, Epstein files, the Jeffrey Epstein files, was just an extension of the law system of America marrying children. It was just an extension of the culture that marries children. He was just a showcasing, if you will, of the laws to marry children. Even though he didn't marry a child, he was showcasing the worldview or the preference that is in America that you didn't know about of sexualizing children. So once you break out the matrix in 2026, the first thing you realize is America was marrying children. You can't break out the matrix without doing this, because all these wars popped off about children. So how in the world are you going to get out the matrix when you don't tell the truth and know the truth? When you don't acknowledge the truth into your reality, how are you going to break out the matrix talking about pedophiles, but you marrying children, talking about Epstein files? See, they pulled you back into the matrix. Because I was talking about child marriage, right? Everybody know that. Then the Epstein files came up and made this big hoopla about it, right? That was basically a distraction. Like, here's the pedophiles, but The prophet is telling you they marrying children. So to me, Jeffrey Epstein was innocent according to American culture. That was marrying girls as young as 10 years old. You can go Google it right now. They were marrying children as young as 10 years old by law in the state of Tennessee. In the state of Tennessee, they married 3 10-year-old girls. That ain't got nothing. Listen, Jeffrey Epstein ain't got nothing on that. So then you stop pointing out certain individuals and you realize that the whole community, the whole culture of America is pedophilia. So imagine in the culture of pedophilia, you point out this one guy. That's how you need to hear it. Imagine pointing out this one guy and you got a whole culture of pedophilia. It doesn't make sense to me. That's like pointing out the obvious, in other words. I mean, you got a whole culture of it. So so see, the truth is you still in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. I'm out the matrix. How you know, man? Because I'm in the real world. I'm showing more signs of being in the real world than you. You still in the matrix where you think America protect children and do stuff for children and that they don't. Okay, how can America have well-being towards children, but you got child marriage laws in the United States? How they got perfect well-being towards children? It's an act. It's an act from the community. And here's the punchline. The community can't even rise up and pick out certain people. Here's the punchline. God is not going to let you do it. If anybody got to sit you down, it's going to be God. Because while you're trying to be a vigilante for children, your country is marrying children. God ain't going to let you stand up on nobody, buddy. I'm sorry, buddy. You was under the wrong impression. You was under the impression that this country protects children, and you can't prove that in reality. You thought this country was not pedophiles, and you can't prove that. Your whole country is a pedophile. They marry children. How they not pedophiles? You just needed the prophet to show you reality, man. That's all. And see, you the type that's an American patriot that's in denial. See, the first sign of loss is denial. That's what a psychiatrist would tell you. The first sign of loss is denial. So when you realize you lost the real image of America to the prophet, bodying that whole image, showing you marrying children, the first sign that you lost that image is denial. You're in denial. You're trying to rationalize it and reason it. It's no reasoning. It's nothing you can say. And that's that, man. And so that's when love became war. That's when we went to war, because it became a sense of, okay, the prophet have been talking about this for like 3 years, right? I've been talking about this for 3 years. Now imagine me succumbing to rumors that stuff you couldn't even prove. That's what set me free. All you doing is psychological stuff. And the truth is, I don't care about that. That's me being out the matrix too. If you're in the matrix, you don't care about all the psychological games that the Americans are doing to you with the gang stalking and all of that. You're gonna feel like, let me think the right way. Let me make sure my every thought is right. I don't care if my every thought is right. I'm telling you this as a Christian. I don't care if my every thought is right, because I know ain't nobody got a perfect brain around here. So that's where the hypocrisy come in, because I know you struggle like the rest of us do. You ain't gonna admit it, but I'm human and I know you do. It's not saying you're a pedophile, but you're gonna make sure you thinking properly. You're gonna overthink about things at times, and if you're real with yourself, you're gonna make sure you're being pure. It's not that you're a pedophile, but you're going to make sure you're being pure. You're going to go back and overthink about things, especially with the phone, with all this stuff that they're doing with the psychological warfare. You're going to go back and make sure you're pure about everything that you're doing, which shows you're a pure person. And that's good enough for God. If it's good enough for God, it's good enough for me. And it should be good enough for your society. But see, they're going to hold you to, this is why you hate hypocrites. Because they hold you to, not only because they do two different things, like don't do as I say as I do. You know what I mean? Don't say it, don't do as I say. I mean, do as I say, don't do as I do, right? Okay, it's also that It's a different standard. They know they're like you, and they struggle mentally like any human being. In a world of immorality, sexually, you're navigating through a filthy world, trying to be the best person you can be. Well, even with that being said, they can sit back like that ain't them, like they ain't the same like you, but they are, and that's what make you hate them right there. That's when it comes to love to hate, when a person acts like an alien. That's why people gonna sympathize more with me, because when I tell you this is what kids go through, this is when gay people, when I show you in life, real life. No matter if I'm a Christian, I'm gonna show you real life. See, a Christian don't hide real life. I don't hide real life. So that's why I show you different dynamics and different things and situations, like Richard Pryor. How you liked Richard Pryor, even though he was gay. We all did. We like George Jefferson, especially him, and he was gay. But then you can sit back and watch George Jefferson, and I know some man in the world undone it. And you sitting around talking about gay people, what you did, you sit back laughing at George Jefferson. You know how many men did that? You got off the phone, yeah, don't bring them gay people over here. Now you sit back and watch George Jefferson. Ha ha ha, George Jefferson. Richard Pryor, ha ha ha, Richard Pryor. They both were gay. So I can show you where you accepted a gay spirit as a masculine man and you're not accepting it. You're not accepting it. You're not accepting it. See, this is where we have to be real. You know what I'm saying? And everybody say they real, but it's different levels of being real. You and your family accepted at least George Jefferson. And that go back to our grandmothers. Our grandmothers, everybody accepted George Jefferson. Yeah. Richard Pryor was a little more crass for, the old school. You know what I'm saying? They might have laughed at him a little bit, you know what I mean? But George Jefferson won the heart of everybody. He did. With the Jefferson Show, right? But he was gay, and nobody thought about it. Nobody would have cared. Even to this day, if I told you George Jefferson was gay, you wouldn't care. That ain't gonna change nothing for most average person. That ain't gonna change nothing, is it? Same thing with Richard Pryor. You ain't gonna say nothing. So see, especially with Richard Pryor, you ain't gonna say nothing. Most black people ain't gonna say nothing. Well, I don't care if he was or not. That's what you're gonna say. But I can show you, even before the gay culture came, you would have still said that. They ain't have to put no pressure on you to feel this way. We already accepted gay people before it was popular to do, for them to try to show, before they now trying to show themselves and all of this. Now they trying to show themselves. We was already, the punchline is this. We was already accepting gay people before gay people came out as a community, like now. We was already accepting Richard Pryor, Luther Vandross, everything. We don't need nobody to come out as a brand. See, this is when they become heavy-handed, and then you get hate as a result. If you play your cards right, man, and I'm not telling you to do it, but Richard Pryor, Luther Vandross, they played their cards right, bro. Right or wrong. George Jefferson played his cards right. Sherman Hemsley played his cards right. He didn't have to come out here telling everybody he was gay to get acceptance. He just had to be who he was. But see, when you heavy-handed, man, it don't. Let me tell you something about sexuality that you might have not looked at uniquely. It just doesn't make sense for that to be the forefront of your every conversation and who you are as a person. To walk around with your sexuality on your sleeve, it just doesn't make sense. Like a heterosexual couldn't do it. I couldn't go around saying, yeah, I like to screw women. Yeah, I sure do. I mean, the closest thing is a playboy. He always talk about it. Yeah, man, I love some women. I go and give me some women. But come on, man. At some point, you're going to have a whole different conversation where it ain't got nothing to do with sex at all. Some gay people, that's all they talk about. I mean, every conversation, that's why nobody want to talk to you. You always insinuate sex. Always. Who thinks about it all the time? What normal person does that? So then, see, your psychology gets damaged with over excessive thinking about sexuality, and that's all you do. That's not normal, bro. No, listen what I said. It's not normal for any human being to have thought patterns of nothing but sexuality. That's why you get haywire. And I've even heard gay people tell me that they think about children sexually. I had a white boy that told me, he was honest enough. I didn't tell him, I didn't ask him any questions. He volunteered this information that when he gets high, he thinks about children sexually. This is what a white dude, a gay white dude told me. A black Jamaican dude that was a tranny, a Jamaican tranny, I seen in Tampa, Florida, that was attracted to a boy. I said, that's a boy. You know what he said? I know. So I done seen white and African that's gay attracted to boys. What I think is because when you have thought patterns of sex, I think the mind goes haywire. You're as a human, you don't supposed to just be thinking about nothing but sex all the time. And for gay people, that's always the insinuation. That's all you talk about and think about. If anybody have a conversation, what they scared of is if they straight men is feeling uncomfortable because you might talk about sex. Because you're not multi-dimensional like many famous gay people. They can do it. Elton John can do it. RuPaul can do it. They can sit down and talk out of their dimension of sexuality, but the average gay guy cannot do it. So you can't speak for RuPaul. He's an individual. You can't speak for Elton John. He's an individual. You got to speak for yourself. You half of y'all cannot have no conversation outside of sexuality. And RuPaul can't do nothing about it. You are who you are. The average American gay guy, all he think about is cruising around for sex. I'm talking about the ones with cars and all of that. I ain't talking about bums. I'm talking about the ones with cars and a place to stay. All they think about is hooking up with somebody having sex. That's all they think about. So then if you keep thinking about sex, you don't think you're going to start thinking crazy stuff like about children and all of this. See, that's why I learned in the 2016, 10 years ago, I heard from ex-military from Texas, this white dude, that this dude was like, well, you know, the gay crowd, they're accusing, this dude volunteered this information. You know, gay dudes, they consider them, they calling them pedophiles. I'm like, where does this information come from? Mind you, at this point, I was with no men or nothing. This is like some random information, like this dude is telling me. And he told me, oh yeah, this is a white dude. Yeah, they saying the gay people is pedophiles. Some way he put it like that. So I had somebody tell me that. That's how a lot of people feel. And I think why they feel that way is because they feel if you're dirty enough to be with a man, you'll do anything. But that's an extreme. I don't hold those extremes. But I can say the balance is I actually have seen gay people be pedophiles before my very eyes. What I seen in the gay community before I left, I wasn't with them per se, but I did see more than one gay person exhibit pedophile words. Definitely. Not what I thought they was feeling. They confirmed that they were pedophiles. I had gay dudes confirm they was pedophiles. Verbally. Didn't care what I felt. Nothing. Didn't care. See, there's some people that don't care, buddy. For me, that's what I experienced. I seen people that said, boldly, they pedophile. Basically, in essence, they didn't care. They don't care what they felt. I think that some people can have psychology that just goes the wrong way for whatever reason, and we don't know what that reason is all the time. That's when you deal with psychologists and psychiatrists, and it comes down to mental health. It does. When you're dealing with pedophiles, it does come down to mental health. You know what I'm saying? It does. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not normal for you to be thinking sizing up children. You know what I'm saying? It's not normal. I noticed one dude doing it, and I was like, hey, that's a boy. I've called somebody on this. Why you accuse me? I've called somebody on this. Hey, that's a boy. He says, I know. This was a Jamaican tranny. I know. I'm like, okay. Right then, I should have left. See, the person I am now, I would have just left that person. As soon as they said, I know, if we was on the streets too, I would have just walked ahead and walked away from that person. But for whatever reason, because the person was interested in me, I kind of dismissed it almost. And just stayed focused on whatever we was doing. But these days, I would definitely walk away from somebody like that. See, the truth is, you can't find in the Bible where it's a certain age that's acceptable for sex. That's one thing I will say. We talk about the age of accountability, where people can go to hell, which is at 12. For most people, say 12 years old. But we never talk about the biblical age for consent. We made it up, and we made up different ages all around the world. But can you show me in the Bible what is the age, the biblical age that a child can be sexualized or have sex with an adult? Can you show me in the Bible? So then there's no standard from the Bible. So it's just men using their interpretation of what is acceptable for sex, which goes all around the world. In Brazil, it's 14. In Jamaica, it's 16. In New York, it's 17. So once you see these patterns of different ages that people feel is acceptable for sex, humanity cannot agree on one age. So who you think gonna get the most respect? These sterile people out here talking about children, but yet they retarded, not knowing their country is marrying children. Or me that's showing you that it's not even in the Bible, a certain age. A certain age ain't in the Bible. I cannot make it up. I can't tell you what to do. As a prophet, I'm wiser than the average person and even preacher. I can't tell you that because I feel 18, 19, 20 is acceptable for a wife. I can't tell you that's what the Bible is insinuating. It's not common sense. It's not common sense, because I know for sure some of the women in the Bible were not 18. I already know that. I know that without trying to know it. And you know it too. Man, you know all those women that got married to servants of God, they was not 18. No, they might have been teenagers, but they wasn't 18. I'm sure about that. Listen, I'm smart enough to know that. We as time went by and made up our own standards, but the problem with that is once you make a certain standard, you got to stick to it. That's called being a man. You can't make a standard for me and then you got a standard over here. Marrying children, that's a boy. See, if you would have been a man about it as Americans, and you would have not been marrying children or having sex with children, then we would take you seriously. Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna take you seriously and you marrying children. I don't want to hear nothing you talking about. I don't care what age of children, because a pedophile will say, well, you like a certain age of child, I like a certain age of child. How you gonna say my age is wrong but you like a certain age? Because once it's in the bracket of children, he gonna feel like, who are you to judge what type of child I like? You like a certain type of child, I like a certain type of child. So it's almost like saying, like I like to say, not this age of child, but this age of child. You can't have sex with this age of child, but oh, this age of child right here is good. That don't sound right, do it? That don't sound right. This age of child is not off limits, but this age of child right here is good. This age of child is wrong, but oh, you can be with this age of child over here. This age of child is off limits, but this age of child is not. See, buddy? You see what I'm talking about? See, a pedophile, once he found out you marrying children, he gonna say, hold up, you marrying children? A pedophile gonna say, I ain't never thought about marrying a child. But then again, they might have. I didn't know America was marrying children. Wow. Look how far we've come. He'll talk about it like it's rights. Look how far we've come. See what you don't want to accept, man, is that these lawmakers that you looking at, they made laws to marry children, and you can't put it together like a smart person, like a competent person. Which means I look at you and I know you the same person that knows something about this child marriage. I look at them and I know they know something about it. Not that I just got it in my head. No, I take it out of my head and I put it on the people. That these same people I'm looking at, including Trump, know something about these child marriage laws. You ain't put it on Trump yet, have you? You ain't cut and paste this information, have you? That Trump knows something about it, of course. You telling me he don't know nothing about child marriage laws? That's what you have me to believe. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. That's why Trump hate the prophet. You know why he hate me? Because I put two and two together that he was in the White House when the last child marriage laws were passed, and he didn't say anything about it. I didn't say he passed it. That's the Jedi mind trick our enemies would say. I didn't say he passed the laws. No, listen. I'm saying he incompetent to sit there and do nothing about it. And big as his mouth is, it's not even Trump's character. No, it's not. I can see if it was Joe Biden. Trump, child marriage laws is passed and he don't say nothing. Listen, bro, that don't sound right, bro. Do it. It don't sound right. That don't sound right. Big as Trump mouth is. It'd be one thing if he was kind of laid back like Joe Biden. It would be one thing if he was kind of laid back like Barack Obama. Big as that man's mouth is. Big as his mouth is, bro. That's what makes it so worse. You know, big as this dude's mouth is. You telling me he ain't got no opinion on child marriage laws that were passed while he was the president? He ain't got nothing to say about that. See, that's what you need to look at. That's why he hate me. That's why he hate me. It ain't cause of nothing y'all told him. See, this situation progressed past these dumb politics that y'all been talking about. You know why they hate me now? You know where it's at now? They hate me because I'm the one talking about y'all marrying children as Americans. You kind of slow, ain't you? Back to being one-track minded. You thought it was a steal about this. No, they got figured out when I got a woman. When they see me with women, they figured that out. A smart man figured that out with women. With me being with women. Like cooking for the women, like I told you. Listen, buddy, listen. That been figured out. You know where the hate coming from now? They using that as a gateway to come into my life, for you to be against me. It ain't about that. What it's about, because I already proved what I stand for sexually. By a human standard. Not by an alien standard. By a human standard, I prove what I do and I don't do. Because I stayed in an apartment on Astoria Boulevard for 3 years. I ain't proved in 3 years what I stand for. As a normal young man. I had women, doing what I do. So for most competent, smart people, that's already over. What they mad about is what I was talking about during the time I was living in my last apartment. I was talking about child marriage laws in the United States of America. That's why they hate me now, buddy. That's why they hate me now. You can't keep up. They Jedi mind trick you and tell you it's about something else, but they hate me now because I'm talking about child marriage laws in America. That's the 7th hour. That's why they hate me now, buddy. You didn't get it, did you? See, you simple-minded. That's all it is. Think about it. In a perfect situation, a person starts talking about child marriage laws in America. It's perfect that you already got something against this person. That you already got bad politics. That's perfect, right? All we gonna do is go back to the bad politics. Duh. You got this leader talking about child marriage laws. Oh, but we got something on you. We gonna just keep running that. Even though we know you was with a woman, we know it ain't true. But we gonna just keep those, you see what I'm saying? We gonna keep those bad politics alive. That's all we gonna do. You stupid, ain't you, man? Just tell the truth. See, some of y'all was not meant to be judges of people's character. You wasn't meant to be judges over things like this. Maybe you got a position as a police, a detective, an investigator. They not the smartest people. They not the sharpest tool in the box, you know. A policeman is not the smartest tool. Think about it. If you was so smart, would you be a policeman? Let's keep it a buck, man. You wouldn't be no policeman. You would do something else. They're not that smart. Okay? If you was smart, wouldn't you be a judge and a justice, literally? So you'd rather be on the beat than be a judge. You're not on that lane. That's why we don't let police come out here and act like judges. That part. That's why we don't let police come out here and act like justices in the community. Yeah, stick in your lane, buddy. All you are is manpower down here for criminals, enforcing laws for the court systems, right? You're not the judge. You bring them to the judge. Let's tell police you bring them to the judge. Let's tell these detectives and everybody else like them, you bring people to the judge. Right or wrong. But you're not, are you qualified to be the judge? No, you're not. You bring people to the judge. Let's tell these thugs and gangsters that people bring people to judges. You're not the judge. You know why? Not because you shouldn't do it, because you're not qualified to do it. I just broke down my own situation and was my own lawyer and judge at the same time. I did it all. I played all positions. You played no position. All you did was take ghetto hearsay at best and spread it around the country like nut spread, like Nutella, like chocolate nut spread. That's all you did. All you did is spread it around like it's on bread. And I still weathered it because that's what makes me real. You see what I'm saying? You're not. See, the moral of the story is everybody shouldn't be no judge. You ain't no. I don't care nothing about intuition. I don't care nothing about that either. Because that comes back to nobody has a perfect mind. So that's how we win. Okay, ain't nobody got a perfect brain. Okay, so can a scientist or anybody say your brain is perfect? No, it's not. If you're not perfect, is your every thought perfect? You're not perfect, but you got perfect thoughts. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. You don't have perfect thought. You're not perfect, right? So let's keep it real. Do you have perfect thoughts? So you have perfect thoughts. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. You know why I don't believe it? Because I look at what you manifest. You know what you manifest? Child marriage laws in the United States of America. That's what you manifest. So according to sexuality with children, you do not have perfect thoughts. How do I know? Because I look at what you manifest, and that's what people should go by. That's 7 hour. We should go by what you manifest. You know what you manifest? Child marriage laws in America. So even if you admit it or not, you don't have perfect thoughts like you try to project yourself to as Americans. You project yourself like you got perfect thoughts. How I know that's not true? Because all I got to do is look at you marrying children, raping children, molesting children, sexualizing children, getting caught for doing it and everything. So how you gonna tell me this whole environment got all these manifestations towards sexualizing children, but they got but your humans here in America got perfect thoughts? Humanity got perfect thoughts. How? How can you prove that? No one has perfect thoughts. So then you don't let people hold you to these psychological gang stalking games and these psychological witchcraft psychic games, because they might see what makes people want to hurt them is because your mind ain't perfect either. But here you are acting like you a judge over us. That's somebody you want to strangle. You want to strangle somebody like that. How you out here and we know your mind probably worse than everybody else's, because you all in the culture where all this stuff is happening. That's how I know. You all in the culture where all this stuff is happening. How you just sitting there. You got perfect thoughts and you sitting through all this foolishness in the culture. Like gay people going and dancing for children in schools. Oh, the drag queens going to school dancing for children. Explain that. What's the explanation on that? Tell gay people to explain why is gay people dancing in front of kids, but y'all got perfect thoughts. Can you tell me the explanation behind? See, this goes with what I said. You always thinking about sexuality. You can't even go to a school and tell children a story without dancing around. Just like them, ain't it? Just like them. You couldn't even go to a school for 3 hours without dancing around, right? You couldn't even go to a school without dancing, man. Ain't that much dancing in the world. That's what I'm trying to show you. How they one-dimensional. They go to a school, they can't even sit down and tell a story and present a good character of gay people. Besides sexuality, showing you're not one-dimensional. See, you get stigmatized as one-dimensional when ain't nothing you can talk about but sex. All you insinuate is sex. And that's a perfect example right there. You go to school and you can't even read a book without dancing, without twerking, man. And let a stripper do it. They've been killed a stripper. A big booty stripper can't go to no school dancing in front of the kids, telling stories and then dancing in front of the kids. A Chippendale dancer man can't come, bulk, muscular man come dancing around the children. A man can't do it. A man can't do it either. Let a straight man, this is how you need to hear it. Let a heterosexual man go dance in front of children, and you won't hear the last of it, buddy. You won't. It would have been way more controversial, and we all know that. If a straight Chippendale dancer that dance at Chippendale, buff and everything, coming there dancing, we wouldn't hear the last of it, buddy. They still be talking about it. They'll still be talking about that. Where is he now? They be following this dude around. Where is he now? Let a big booty stripper come into the school, dancing and twerking and everything, clapping in front of children. Man, listen, you wouldn't hear the last of that. Now let a gay dude come into the school. He can dance. Oh, nobody don't really say, oh, we just talk about like, oh, that's kind of bad. No, listen, it would have got death threats if it was a big booty stripper. She came in there clapping in there. Come on, we know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about when they're clapping. She would have came in there clapping and making noise and clapping, and it's clapping. Man, listen, bro, listen. You would have pulled your kid out that school. That's the first thing you would have did. That's 7 out. You would have pulled your kid out that school. That's what you would have did. Soon as you seen the video and she clapping. She clapping, right? Like Juicy J say, she clapping with no hands. She clapping with no applause and no hands, bruh. Listen, she clapping with no hands. She wouldn't have made it. She wouldn't have made it, bruh. A Chippendale dancer coming to a school, he wouldn't have made it, bruh. But a gay person coming to school dancing all around. Oh, well, let's figure this out. It ain't nothing else to figure out. It's nothing to figure out here. None of us could have done it. That's what we need to figure out. I couldn't have done it. You couldn't have done it. They come and dance. They can't even tell a story. A story. I don't know what the story was about. They can't even tell a story without dancing around, man. It proves it's 360 to my point. They can't. They one dimensional. All they thinking about is sexual insinuations. It's always insinuating sex with everything they do, man. That's the problem. It's not just your sexuality. I showed you the balance. How we like Richard Pryor as a gay man. Richard Pryor wasn't like that. Luther Vandross wasn't like that. Who else? What's the other dude I'm talking about? Oh yeah, Sherman Hemsley. He wasn't like that. He interacted with kids. He was normal. Everything. You don't act normal. But you trying to play with me? Man, I can show you how your community dancing in front of children, for crying out loud. I know gay people ain't talking about my sexuality like I'm with kids. Man, listen, bro, your community dancing in front of kids, putting butthole all in the air with kids. Ain't nothing but a butthole dancing all around. Ain't got nothing but butthole. That's all you got. Putting butthole all in front of kids. Sitting up questioning my sexuality? No, check yourself. Check your community that's sitting around putting butthole in front of kids. That's what I'm saying. That's funky. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. And they deserve it, bro. They deserve it. You can't tell me they don't deserve it. Sitting up here questioning my sexuality, bro. I don't talk to homosexuals that said they basically like children. I done heard them say it. I could have said that, just cut and dry. But I'm showing you other examples. Where you go to school and you dancing in front of children. You can't come back from that, bro. You can't. So all we ask is that you have a seat, right? We know about gay people before you came along individually. You're not the first gay dude we seen, right? Right. No pun intended. We seen George Jefferson, didn't we? We seen Luther Vandross. We seen Richard Pryor. So you can't speak for everybody. You're just speaking for yourself, really. And you know what I found out? These new generations of gay people, listen, you one-dimensional, man. All you're thinking about is you can't speak. You can't act like that stand for you. You ain't nothing like them. You ain't nothing like Richard Pryor and all of them. You walking around one-dimensional like a robot, like a sex machine. You a gay sex machine, ain't you? You a gay sex machine, ain't you? Like a gay robot, man. That's all you're thinking about. You ain't multi-dimensional where you're thinking about other aspects of life. Now you might pick a couple people out the litter, you know, but they can't represent gay people on ground level. They can't ever, a famous gay person and how sophisticated you are, I hate to tell you, you can't represent ground level gay people that's one-dimensional. You can't make them multi-dimensional because you multi-dimensional. Because you well-read and you got yourself together. Maybe you're Elton John or Don Lemon or people like that. But that's you. You can't speak for these ground level people we see that's one-dimensional dancing in front of the children. You can't speak for them. You can't make it up. You can't do nothing to make it up for them. Why don't y'all tell people, gay people that's famous can't make up for the ratchetness that we see on ground level with these gay people? You can't do nothing about it, bruh. I know you want to defend them, but you can't. Because you're not like them. It's the truth. You're not. You're not. Ain't nothing you can do about it. They ratchet, they funky, they play in people's politics, they give people HIV on purpose. You as Don Lemon, you wouldn't get nobody HIV on purpose, would you? RuPaul, you wouldn't give nobody HIV on purpose if you had it, right? Elton John, you wouldn't dare thinking about doing that, seeing all that the gay people went through. Don't you know gay people can see all that history of HIV in their own community and still go around and intentionally and as a weapon, not, oh, I didn't know. No, using their HIV as a weapon. That's where we at in 2026, buddy. Now, you might not do that, but you can't speak for ground level, and I'm supposed to say that, being that I've been through this. Where a gay person gave me HIV on purpose with the Freemasons, with these niggas out here. Elton John, what he gonna say to that? What RuPaul gonna say to it? What Don Lemon gonna say to it? You can't vouch for them. See, they in their own lane. Lanes of gay ratchetness that you don't know about. Maybe you don't know about it like that. Let's keep it 100. Maybe you kind of out of touch with the new generations of gay people. It can easily happen. I mean, you're famous for after all. You're not really out here. So you could be out of touch with how the gay people are now. You know how they are now? Funky, ratchet. Giving people HIV on purpose. You can't come back from that as a culture. When we know it was more than one gay person that was aware of that. That means once it's more than a couple people, That defines your culture. That defines the embodiment collectively of who you are. It defines you collectively. And that's that, bro. You can't, see, what I tell people is this: you can't act crazy on Monday and then be cool on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? You know, eventually, if you act crazy and do crazy and be crazy, listen, it's gonna be 24/7, 52 weeks of a year, and 7 days of a week. That's how you're gonna be. See, Americans try to be crazy on the weekend and then be whatever you are during the weekdays. It don't work like that, little buddy. You gonna listen. I guarantee you gonna show signs of being crazy during the week. If you crazy on the weekend, guess what? Even though you try to hide it, you're gonna find signs of being crazy during the week, buddy. Y'all just crazy people. That's why it's no hope no more. That's why it ain't no hope. I don't even think about hope. It ain't none because of the mentality of the people. That's why all of this is happening, where it's basically World War III. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but I know the wars ain't gonna stop, and all these things that's going on ain't gonna stop. Because listen, you don't even got no explanation before me. I break you down. I break anybody down. Black people can't even talk about pedophiles. You kill black children. Let's get on you. Black thugs and gangsters in streets kill black children. How you gonna talk about pedophiles? So what's worse than a pedophile? People that kill black children, whether it's indirectly or directly. Well, we didn't mean to do it, so what? You still did it. You can't trivialize that. Well, we didn't mean to do it. Sound like you're trying to trivialize it. You can't trivialize it, buddy. No matter if you meant to do it or not. So what's worse than a pedophile? Someone who kills gangbangers killing children. So I know you ain't talking as black people. You got too many liabilities of you killing black children for you to be talking about some pedophiles. You got to be retarded, buddy. You got to be retarded. You see all the children you kill. You retarded, ain't it? It's the bacon, ain't it? It's the bacon. It's the bad bacon. Bad bacon that made you retarded, ain't it? Bad bacon that made you retarded. Hey, man, listen, man, let me tell you something, man. Y'all got too many liabilities as the whole United States of America to be playing around me. This is why it's all ending. I broke down every society, every community, everybody out here, and ain't no way in the world a real man gonna listen to my information and think them people credible. It's not gonna happen. You're not credible among real men and women, healthy-minded people with healthy psychology.